John Jones took a polygraph test to prove his innocence. And I'm gonna say this. Ted Bundy passed the polygraph test. Ted Bundy passed the polygraph test and then killed the fucking guy that was giving it to him. Bye, guys. Appreciate it.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. That was a terrifying Modelo opening sound. I am Pulver, and I am here once again with my co-host, Chris Danaher. What up, bruh?
You said that super white. Is it Modelo or Modelo?
Modelo, bro.
Modelo.
Yeah, no, it's Modelo.
It is.
Yeah, I figure if you just sound drunker, it sounds more official.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we are not a booze podcast, despite my best efforts. We are a we're an MMA podcast about MMA podcasts. Sorry, I just remembered a gimmick that we're about to do in a second about since Chris lost a bet. But if you guys have not heard the show previously, essentially every week we go through and break down the MMA podcasts you should catch, skip, and the ones you can't miss, as well as we try to check out a new show. And holy shit, big fight week, dude.
Oh yeah, big time. For those who don't know, besides the UFC pay-per-view, there's also a Bellator. Is it a pay-per-view or
no? Bellator 192
it's just
on the Paramount Network.
Yes,
debut
Paramount.
on the Paramount
formerly
Network.
known as Spike TV.
Yeah, formerly known as Cops.tv.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Cops channel. Let's be real.
And,
as noted,
15 years ago, there was Mansers.
Yeah,
1,000 Ways to Die.
That's right.
Or those knit shows you had on late at night.
Yeah, as said on the Spike, the official Spike Twitter account. If you guys have not seen that, holy shit, go look at the official Spike Twitter account. They are losing their goddamn mind. They've just been talking shit about Spike for like the last 3 days, and then the last thing they sent out was just Mexico and a bunch of exclamation points, which is the same thing that Bjorn Rebney sent out, of course, when he left Bellator and ditched Spike. So it was fucking great. Big fan of whoever runs that Twitter account, who's clearly a very big drunk and somewhere in the desert. That's all I could get from it. Anyway, we are way off topic, but speaking of being off topic, Chris, why don't you go ahead and while I grab your booze punishment for the people.
I will say, you did lose half the bet as well.
I lost the fat kid half.
And I appreciate the sandwich that you bought me, because that's going to help me in whatever death you decided to buy me.
Yeah, shout out to our sponsor, super official. Totally, they know about this. Fat Sal's.
Yep.
Down in Pacific Beach. I think they have one in LA too.
They got one in Hollywood. They got one in Texas. They got one in Encino. They got them all over.
Fat Sal's is a motherfucker. What'd you get again?
I got the Fat Texas. It's a bunch of it was Texas brisket with honey barbecue sauce and garlic bread inside with French fries, mozzarella sticks, and chicken fingers.
Yeah,
and onions
and pastrami, I think too. Right?
No, they didn't go that far.
Really?
It would have been chaos.
See, there was so much going on in that sandwich. Yeah. It's hard to differentiate anything from anything. But that was fantastic. But why don't you also break down the second half of that bet while I go get the
bet that I made, if you listened last week, I bet that Michael Johnson would make weight, which he did, which meant that Pulver had to buy me a sandwich from Fat Sal's, which he did, and thank you very much. But I lost the fight part of the bet because I said that Michael Johnson would win. Looked promising in the beginning of that fight, but not to my liking. Oh, and of course, you're going to bring this back.
Yeah, go ahead and finish. Of course, Darren Elkins
the got that
kid.
Naked. Yeah, he was able to just take damage like a sponge. And as for my punishment for losing the bet, I have to drink Black Mask, which I know you hate this.
How dare you? It's officially, the real name is Bungalow Rum, as announced on our Twitter that is actually on your phone. If you had have looked at our Twitter at all this week, you would have known I teased this like a couple days ago, which is fantastic. So here are the shot glasses. I'm going to pour some Bungalow Rum. If you guys have not heard about the Bungalow Rum, you can hear it make me black the fuck out on our Supreme Champion commentary. And yeah, I tweeted out this week that because of someone losing a bet. Ooh, we're gonna switch these. Because of someone losing a bet, Bungalow Rum is gonna make a return to the show, and oh boy, does it still smell like bungalows. Also, this week, girlfriend Karen helped me realize part of the problem with this is it smells like bungalows and old people, and it's the clove and black licorice. I think.
This does smell like my grandma's house.
Yeah.
It smells like my grandma's house, that musty old person house smell.
It's clove and black licorice.
Yeah.
It's like, it's bad.
And coincidentally, my grandma loves black licorice, and I grew up on that shit. Thanks, Grandma.
So this is all really tying in. Yeah. So cheers to this, and cheers to Darren Elkins for getting that dubs. Oh, that's fucking awful. And that is officially the last of the Black Mask Rub.
Yeah, that's really terrible.
Don't get black. Don't get Black Mask Rub.
That's to you.
Specifically, we are drinking the regular Black Mask Rum. Might be fine. We're drinking the Black Primo, which is spelled Premo and not Primo for a good goddamn reason, because it is not Primo.
Yeah, I would, if I were to have any alcohol I would consider a cousin, it's definitely not this one.
No, this is maybe one of the worst alcohol products I've had. Like, it's real far up there. It tastes like substitute teacher smell.
Yeah. Like, you may not have, like, I didn't gag visually, but my stomach is gagging right now.
Hopefully
this is bad.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have a return of my Supreme Champion commentary. But we will go ahead and get into actual format this week. We are drinking Modelo, our other super official sponsor. We're sponsored by Modelo, just like the champion who's fighting this weekend, Stipe Miocic. Also, shouts out to Doug Stanhope and Popov Vodka. Also, very real sponsors.
Another very real sponsor that we have is first time drinking this beer for me in a long time. I brought Newcastle with me.
That's right.
The reason why I got it is because I noticed, oh shit, the color is a little bit different, and that's because it is now brewed in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and you said you kind of like it better,
tastes a little
right?
less syrupy, yeah, man. It's a little different.
Kind of interesting, for sure. And I'll shout out another beer that I have here in a minute. But we should actually get on topic since, again, despite my best efforts, not a booze show. So, but if you did want a booze show, I would look up Zane Lamprey or Zane's World. That's a good one. Or anything Ari Shaffir. I mean, not Ari Shaffir. Bart Chrysler is in. Anyway, so Chris, why don't we get into format? What is the podcast you think people should catch this week?
So, quick thing, I have 3 catch this
big
podcasts.
Week.
Yeah.
I bet some
which
of ours
means
might overlap.
I don't really have like a can't miss.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that's why I just have 3 catch this. So let's do the first one real quick. The episode of UFC Unfiltered that featured Jeremy Stephens and Kamaru Usman. I really like this one.
Interesting. I didn't catch that.
I like this one a lot because of Jeremy Stephens. Really cool guy. I know he hasn't really marketed himself outside of the octagon, really, but then again, his fists do the talking, and his knockout power, and his goddamn leg kicks. Holy shit. Sorry, Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah.
Mentioned that before.
Good Google.
Jeremy Stephens was talking about his recent victory over Duho Choi. Said he would like to fight Cub Swanson again because he thinks this time he'd blow him out of the water. He was talking about new age fighters, and what he means specifically are fighters who sit back and wait for title shots. In example, Brian Ortega, he said, "What the fuck, bro?" Supposedly, he went up to Brian Ortega and asked him, "Why don't we fight soon, dude? Let's go ahead and fight." Brian Ortega said to his face, supposedly in quotes, "Nah, man, I'm gonna wait for a title shot."
He might be waiting for a while.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people catching up to Brian Ortega, technically, with all these wins.
And I'm not, like, Brian Ortega is
he's number 3.
He's the Colby Covington of that division.
He is.
Without being a fucking terrible human being.
Yeah.
And,
without being a dick.
Yeah. But, like, he beat someone with a big name, but, like, also...
He's still kind of in the fight.
Still pretty green. But... who knows what they're going to do with that division. Max is talking about fighting fucking all the 155ers right now at the press conference today. So, also, we are recording this on Friday, Which,
Yeah, I was going to say, fortunately for me, I need it to graduate this semester.
Right.
It's part of my 2 classes I'm taking. But one of my classes is every Thursday, Tuesday and Thursday night from 7 to 8 to 9 o'clock. So that's not going to really mix in well, unfortunately.
Yeah,
7 is usually when we would start.
Yeah, so we will probably start recording on Fridays most of the time, and maybe some Wednesdays here and there. Like next week will be a Wednesday, but that is something to keep an eye out for. But I feel like Fridays kind of works better. You get weigh-ins, you get like the full week of podcasts. Like, I don't have that shit where I feel bad that I don't talk about the MMA Roadshow every week because we tape the day before it comes out.
And I was going to say, too, what's nice is since we get the weigh-ins, we can get those, we can avoid the next day things where, oh, this guy can't fight. And then none of you realize it.
Well, some of the changes, because there's always going to be a Amanda
day
Nunes,
of
Valentina Shevchenko situation.
The John Jones situation.
Yeah. Fucking John Jones.
That kind of thing.
Jesus.
So I'll finish off real quick. He talked about, Matt, if Sarah had asked me, he said, I have to ask you, Jeremy, I love that comeback you had against Conor a couple years ago when Conor said the who the fuck is that guy thing. And Jeremy, the context is there was a picture that he took with Conor McGregor's mom back at UFC 189, and basically he was like, yeah, Conor's mom wasn't bad looking, and she just snugged up against me, and I just put in the title, in the caption, she knows who the fuck I am. Which, that was a solid comeback by him. I
Super
laughed.
solid. Also, I'd be surprised if Angie Hill didn't have a part in that line delivery.
100%.
Angie Hill fucking feeds people jokes like a goddamn machine.
Oh, yeah.
It is, that's where, I'm not going to say which one. Y'all should probably know, but I don't want to throw Angie under the bus, but there's a certain, we'll say a picture of a horror movie character that got compared to a fighter at one point. That was evidently a meme that Angie Hill definitely came up with, so.
Then they asked him, who do you think is going to win between Frankie and Max? He thinks Frankie is going to outpace Max. He thinks Frankie has better cardio and is going to wrestle him. He knows Max is good off his back, but he thinks Frankie's going to be a little too strong on top.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna. Yeah.
It'll be.
He's just saying he knows how good Max is, and he thinks it can go either way. He's favoring Frankie.
He'd be a fun matchup against either of those dudes.
Yeah. He also said, and I didn't know he was back at Alliance. I know he was back in the UFC.
Yeah.
Miles Jury.
Yeah, he came. Oh, really? Miles Jury's back.
Miles Jury's back at Alliance. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He was saying he was impressed with Miles' performance against Rick Glenn, who I thought was going to beat Miles Jury.
Maybe I did know that. I mean, I saw Eric in his corner. I don't know if I knew that going into the fight though.
Yeah, I just remember he was at TriStar a couple years ago after he had left.
I thought he went to.
Was it TriStar?
I thought it was Arizona. I thought he went to Crouch's gym with Benson Henderson.
Maybe it is the lab.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not positive.
Maybe he's been all over. Who knows? Either way, Jeremy Stephens. But when I listened to this was on Tuesday. Who would you like to fight next, Jeremy? I would like to fight Josh Summit. Guess what just got announced today? The UFC Orlando main event. Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stephens.
Yeah, Josh posted, I think like yesterday or so, that he got a fight, and I was trying to figure out who it would be. Did not think Jeremy Stephens was going to make like a 3-week turnaround. Just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Wait, is Orlando next week?
Fuck, I think it is next week already.
Wait. We should look that up. Here, you keep going.
Kamaru Usman was on there. He had to clarify his comments about that. I only fought at 30%. What he meant is that his health was at 30%, apparently, which that's extremely far-fetched. I mean, I don't think anyone would fight with 50% health, But what he meant is apparently his calf was pretty much torn.
30.
He was fighting with a torn calf. He said his knee was tweaked. He also sprained his ankle in the fight. So, wow, he was all sorts of fucked up in his fight against Emil Mek. And the fact is he was able to still kind of not put him away, but kind of control the pace and dictate the fight his way was impressive. If he's been able to fight with all those injuries, being able to dictate that kind of pace and that kind of control, that's impressive as shit. And I'd love to see him fight when he's not hurt. I mean, who wouldn't? But then again, in mixed martial arts, there's always going to be injuries no matter what because of sparring,
Yeah, for sure.
Pre-fight, conditioning, that kind of thing.
It's always going to happen. Oh, also, as an update, the Orlando card is February 24th. So that's like a little over a month. So that's not as bad as I thought. Like 6 weeks.
I know we thought it was like next week.
But that means he's immediately getting back in camp right after that fight.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
And then Usman ended saying, Colby Covington is ducking him because he doesn't want to derail his title shot chance. He says, I would love to coach the Ultimate Fighter against him. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
And he says also it would give me time to heal up my injuries.
I agree with him, although after that, like, Dana is shitting on him.
Oh, there's
and
no way Dana would give him that
on
opportunity.
him.
Yeah, no.
I feel bad, dude. If you like, people
I like
sleep on
Usman.
how cool Usman is.
Yeah.
Like, Usman also, if you guys don't know, has been doing the commentating for Titan FC for like fucking ever. He's done that for years now. But no one watches that shit on Fight Pass, evidently, but me and like fucking the two other people. John Morgan did one with Usman. It was Usman and John Morgan were the fucking two commentators. It's fantastic. I believe it's Titan. I could be fucking up for... No, Victory is Sean. Titan is Usman. Yeah, he does in the cage post fight interviews. Super, like, he's really good on the mic, and so he must have been one of the guys they had try out. But I'm surprised you don't hear more about that, because he's fucking solid. I really like that dude. But everyone forgot he's a wrestler, and they watched that fight and they're like, "Oh man, why'd you wrestle, bro?"
Oh, yeah, I remember, who was it? I had the fights on. I think it was Blake or Trevor was watching, and they're like, why are they booing? I'm like, dude, the casual fans don't like wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's how that's always been.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, stop laying on top of him, bro, you fucking pussy. I can knock you out. You know, like, people that really...
Yeah, Just Bleed dudes are out in abundance, for sure.
That's still one of the best GIFs ever, that Just Bleed guy. That's
forever.
Always fantastic.
Also, he, like, I think has a degree in something, and it's like...
We had fans.
Yeah. I think Sherdog or somebody did a follow-up.
It was probably just a
story
bunch of just the alcohol, the liquor talking.
Oh, for sure. It's fucking fantastic, though. Yeah, but it was a good episode, though, huh?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Like, that show is super hit or miss, depending on the guest.
No, it is.
And whether or not both of them are in studio.
If both of them are in there, it's usually fine. As long as it isn't Phoenix something or the one other person.
Carnival.
Yeah, I like the Bobby English guy, whatever that guy's name is. Or
Robert Kelly?
James English.
James English, Robert Kelly. Bobby Kelly.
Oh, yeah, Bobby Kelly's the other. He's a comedian who's a good guest.
Yeah,
That's what it is, yeah. So, I know I have two other catch this, but I'll let you go ahead and fire one off.
Sure, since I actually have two catches as well for this week. The first podcast I think people should catch is the Joe Rogan Fight Companion. It was awesome. It was Jimmy Smith and Edgy Bra.
Oh, Jimmy Smith was there?
Yeah, it was fucking great. Jimmy Smith was there.
Did he smoke or drink at all, or probably...
We'll get to this in a second.
Okay.
So Edgy Bra is in studio, and Brian Callen is, of course, on his way with what, Chris?
Wine and cheese?
Yep, nailed it. That's an easy bit. Yeah, so actually...
Hey, all I gotta say is a good fucking wine's a good fucking wine, man. Like, there's sometimes, dude, like, I want to have some good-ass wine. I'm gonna get some good-ass wine.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board, but Brian's a goddamn stereotype. Oh,
yeah.
That dude, you know right away he's getting wine and cheese. Anyway, Edgy begins the show by saying he's no longer drinking anymore.
Sure.
So the Indian is dead, as far as he's concerned, so that was hilarious. But he says that and then immediately starts smoking a joint. Jimmy says he'll hit the joint. It's not confirmed on camera, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy hit the joint at some point. And then Jimmy announced...
Did it sound like he did later?
I didn't pay attention. Because I was drunk by then. Both times I watched this.
No, then you were just participating. Method listening.
No, yeah. There's only one way to watch Fight Companions, and it's hammered. Don't kid yourself. Let's see. So Jimmy also announces he's never had a drink in his life.
Never just had not even
No,
beer?
never had alcohol.
Maybe he had family or some tragic shit happen.
Probably.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Literally, if I had a bunch of family that was, then yeah, I would never.
Oh, for sure. For sure, I'm still gonna make fun of you for being a baby, though. But it's fine. I don't really care. I thought that was funny. Especially while...
You know who that reminds me of?
While Brian's on his way with wine and cheese.
You remember that clip I sent you? Remember I told you to watch the new Triple X on Hulu?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Xander Cage doesn't drink. And you saw how that went when he asked the bad guy, give me the strongest shit you have. Okay.
Yeah.
For those who are listening, don't know, just go watch the new Triple X.
Actually, don't. Wait. Because we're going to do a commentary for it at some point.
Don't. Just wait for us.
Oh, you can go watch it, because you shouldn't watch it with us for the first time. That seems like a bad way to watch a movie. But yeah, it's goofy. Anyway, back to Rogan. Let's see. Oh, Eddie talks about his favorite topic, which is head trauma. He pitches the idea of knockout-only MMA, where the only way to win a fight is by knockout or by breaking an arm. And that Eddie thinks that it would fucking blow people's minds and everyone would be into it. Yeah, I mean, he's not kidding, but like he doesn't think it'll happen either.
I would have been like, hey Eddie, have you heard of CTE? I think you should look into it.
Yeah, for real. Rogan does his classic screaming out of nowhere when he randomly looks over and Elkins bodies Michael Johnson with the comeback.
Oh, just that. Ah.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, oh, Darren Elkins, oh. It's a like weird ghetto Sam Kinison impression. Yeah. They talk a bit about Matt Hughes in the walkout, which is pretty cool during that.
I saw he was kind of struggling to walk. Is that just a result of him coming out of the coma still?
Yeah, of him getting hit by a train.
Well, yeah.
That's what's
still insane is the fact that he lived.
Yeah, he's a tough motherfucker. Yeah, that was crazy. We were watching... I was hanging out in the Fight Night thread on the MMA community. Speaking of which, more sponsors. The MMA community shouts out. Also, Kangaroos MMA out in Sydney, which might not be around that much longer, but I enjoy it while it is. Anyway, yeah, the Matt Hughes walkout stuff was cool. A bummer, and I was pretty hammered by that point, so I was like, this has made me have too many feels. Let's go back to the fisticuffs.
Trevor's like, what's wrong with Matt Hughes? Did he have like some sort of like stroke?
It's always bad when you have to be like, no, he got hit by a train.
No, I told him, you gotta be like, what do you mean? Like, shouldn't he be dead? And I'm like, right. I mean, it's
fucking crazy.
It's good that he's alive, but man.
Yeah, man, that was rough. And then of course Brian shows up with wine and cheese, and let the cheese eating sounds begin, which happen for a lot of this show. Like if you're one of these people,
wait, how do you? Is he just like shoving the cheese into the microphone? Because dude, eating cheese shouldn't be loud. It's pretty.
There, like when you're. There's a lot of smacking in cheese eating.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And even if you're back off of the mic, which none of them were while eating cheese, even Joe was eating cheese into the mic. So if you're sensitive to any of that stuff, this is not the show for you. Jimmy was the best about it, but even then, he was still eating hella cheese. Because Brian kept fucking trying to make him eat cheese. Brian, fell in love with Jimmy at a certain point during this episode. They both figured out their history majors, and Brian just, starts trying to blow Jimmy. It's real aggressive. Man. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Let's see. Oh, Eddie at one point does bring up the fact that he used to commentate, or do commentary, rather, for some of the old King of the Cage shows.
Okay.
And he did them with Eric Apple a couple times, who we've talked about Eric Apple. You know him from The American Animals.
The American Animals, yeah. I know, I'm pretty sure Ian McCall's just not on there anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that show's happening anymore.
Yeah, I think it got closed.
Yeah, but anyway, Eric Apple and Eddie says him and Eric Apple got hammered before they did one of the King of the Cage shows, and he actually shouts out which one it is, so we might have to do a commentary for Eddie's commentary of King of the Cage, because if it's just him and Eric Apple sitting there hammered, he said they were taking hella shots and shit, just hammered before it. So that should be interesting. We might have to check that out sometime. But I'd highly recommend checking that out. Brian accidentally hints that Khabib is going to be fighting Tony. Brian at one point goes so what's Tony's game plan? And then they're like,
Eddie's probably...
And Rogan does that thing where he very, very clearly goes, oh, Brian, you mean if Khabib was going to be fighting Tony in the future? Brian goes, oh, yeah. That was whatever it was, Saturday. So I knew that fight was happening since... the rumor was out there anyway, but that shit was so obvious. It was pretty blatant.
Which, by the way, is that... was the press conference today...
Yep.
For 223?
Yep.
Did they announce if Connor's getting stripped today, or they...
Dana White did the missiest bullshit of all time of
the only thing I did see is all he said was... I remember what he said. He said the winner of Khabib versus Tony will be undisputed champion. That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
Well, he didn't say undisputed. He just said champion.
Yes, this will be for the lightweight championship. And then
they'll just do it tomorrow during the fight. They'll just do it tomorrow during the fight. You'll just see some pop up It'll be a promo. It'll just be a promo. It'll show like a soundbite from Tony saying, "Where are you at, McNuggets?" Right, and then like be a build up, and then Khabib will be like, "Do bullshit, the guys," and then like it'll show Dana go, "It's for the undisputed," like some off air. Yeah, they'll just announce it tomorrow.
I would bet, beginning of the broadcast we find out.
And the reason why they'll announce it tomorrow because they know the news of Conor being stripped will be all people give a shit about.
Yeah.
Like, oh, then when's Conor coming back? Is he gonna come back in September like Dana thought he would? So then he could fight. Hopefully Khabib wins, and then fight Khabib in Russia or Tony. You know what I mean? Because then they'll have the Moscow car, and that makes sense for Conor because he likes money. And how much money would that make?
Hates fighting, loves money.
Yeah, because the Russians will be like, we want to see Conor die. So
yeah, they do want to see Conor die. I still am not convinced they're going to do a pay-per-view over there just because the hours are going to be so fucked. Like, the time difference
isn't it
is like
12 or 14
so they either
hours?
have to do it in the middle of the night there or in the middle of the day here. It's like,
unless they want to pull a Bellator to a tape delay.
no, you can't tape delay a pay-per-view.
I know, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I'd fly to Russia to watch that goddamn fight if I had to. Or I'd fly to Russia and watch Khabib not weigh in. I'm still that fight's cursed as far as I can tell.
His new diet looked pretty good last fight.
Yeah, no, he actually did look great, and he is with like a legit nutritionist now. Even Max Holloway shouted out. I forget the dude's name. Yeah, he's on podcast too. He's great. I forget his name.
Yeah, I think
it's not Lockhart.
I think
it's
I'd
the other
recognize
dude.
it if I saw it.
Yeah, it's not Lockhart. It's the other dude that's super legit right now, and his name is not Gold in Spanish. I'm just kidding. Dolce isn't cold in Spanish, you fucking momos. I was just joking that Mike Dolce, everything, all his logos, always gold. Anyway. And because Michael Dolce is a sweet boy.
Well, I was going to say Dolce would be Italian.
Yeah. Well, and it's Italian for sweet, right?
Yeah, because Spanish it's dulce.
Yeah, exactly. De leche.
Sure good.
Yeah, fucks with dulce de leche. Also, probably Khabib does too. Anyway, back on topic.
With vodka.
Yeah. On that episode, they did bring up that, they actually talked about the fights a ton. I was really surprised. Because Jimmy being there made Rogan want to talk about MMA more. So they actually talked about, PVZ versus Rose. They actually talked, that whole fight, they actually talked about what was happening, which is so fucking rare for that show, especially during a female fight. Just really fucking dope. And then at some point after the card, they start talking about just crazy shit. Eddie talks about being the commentator for Sakuraba versus Hickson. Being like, Kimura might work in the gym where you're from, but it's not going to work against Hickson. And then Sakuraba breaks his arm right in front of him. Pretty good. They look at 220.
Played a little quick preview.
Yeah, did a preview of that. Of course, they lost their shit when Jeremy Stevens beat Duo Choi. Jimmy tells a story about how when Eddie first got there, or when Jimmy first pulled up, Eddie mistook him for Rogan.
No, of course.
He's like, fucking Jesus, Eddie. We've known each other for so long. Yeah, just a lot of that. It was fun.
Joe, did you grow out a goatee?
Yeah, exactly. It was real legit. And, they also talk about this movie, Hitman. That, it wasn't actually a movie, but it was some fight card in LA that they pretended was they were filming a movie to try and get around the. This was back when California was illegal to have fights.
So a smoker show, whatever they call it.
It was like a smoker, but they were pretending like they were filming it for a movie, but there was no movie. Okay. That shit got shut down by the cops. I think Babalu was supposed to fight at it.
Good old Babalu.
Yeah, something like that. And then Eddie Bravo did release this week the Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds on YouTube. So if you want to go watch, was it Wagner Rocha? Got a TKO in Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, I want to say. And ended up getting the belt. I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be the one to ask.
I'm pretty sure it's Wagner Rocha. But yeah, he got TKO in fucking Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, which if you guys don't know is just palm strikes. So getting a fucking TKO
Oh yeah, I
palm
remember
strikes
you
is
showed me
wild.
that one
We
time.
did that live.
Yeah.
We commentated the first one with
That's
our
right.
extreme lack of jiu-jitsu knowledge. But I'll watch some dudes palm strike some dudes.
Was I in the Netherlands when we did that? I must have been.
I believe
Yeah,
so,
that's I
yeah.
don't remember that. I was probably way too high.
Dude,
I'm like,
we were both probably hammered, yeah.
But what's this? I can't ask you, what is this called again when he does this?
Yeah, and then I probably said the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. So if you want to check that out, check out Eddie Bravo's YouTube. But yeah, just a fun fucking fight campaign where they actually talked about the fights thanks to Jimmy Smith. So I would argue Jimmy Smith should be on every fight companion from now on. He's so good. He's so much better than having Brendan. I worry that if Brendan got on there, he would derail everything. Callan was trying so hard to derail shit.
Well, I think Connor, he kind of fights like the Flash because he's fast.
Oh,
But,
God.
this guy fights like the Punisher.
Dog, of course it's Punisher. Of course it's Punisher. It's always Punisher.
In Batman.
It's like how Rogan's two references are Hulk and Thor.
Oh, he's always on
it's
the
the
Hulk
two.
and Thor, yeah. And don't ask Matt Serra, he'll talk your fucking
Oh,
head
well,
off.
Matt Serra also goes Hulk and Thor a lot.
Wolverine! I'm like
Oh,
Wolverine,
that's true.
Jimmy!
No, and Matt actually does like comics. He doesn't just have like two references to try and
Well, remember, like I
understand
said, like
pop
he had said
culture.
before, in his shitty security guard job, he'd bring his little half dummy and awkwardly practice Kimura's on it.
That was one of the funniest shit. We should have pulled that as a clip. That's just
He'd
so
read
crazy.
comic books in a fucking like phone booth.
Walk around with the fucking half a torso, choking the shit out of it. Jesus. Anyway, we should get back on topic. What's the, you said you had a couple more catches, right?
Yeah, another one I had was, went back to Way of the Warrior. These guys
I
had
wanted to catch that this week.
episode 376 for these guys. I always forget their names, but these guys remind me a lot of Co-Main Event, just the way they kind of have a good rapport with each other and the way they bounce off each other, their jokes and all that shit, and they just mess with each other all the time. But they had a really detailed discussion in the beginning about weight cutting, how there needs to obviously be new stipulations from the apparent small seizure that Uriah Hall suffered, as well
And
as
slight heart attack.
Slight heart attack. Holy
Yeah.
fuck. Because I saw comments like, "Oh, you bitch! You only had 1 pound, bro."
That's because Dana said shit.
Yeah,
Dana's
I
like,
know, people-
he's not committed, bro. He didn't go to our fucking performance center, so clearly he doesn't care.
Yeah, it was they talked about that for like the first probably 15 minutes, and just other examples of poor, or I wouldn't really say poor weight cuts, just unfortunate weight cuts. Sure, there's poor weight cuts, but there's also just sometimes shit happens. So you're just cutting weight, your body doesn't react well, and that's what happened to Habib.
Yeah, that's why weight cutting is a fucking bitch.
Then they asked if Volkan wins the belt, what happens if he loses his trial and has to go to prison? Like, what then? Does
Then
Big Bell go back to
DC
DC again?
gets
DC,
to fight.
like, what is that? Like, because DC already
DC fights
said...
Jimmy Manoa for the belt.
Well, because DC already said in the other Unfiltered that they did yesterday, he said mentally going into... Or no, it was on MMA Fortnight. He said mentally going into the fight, he feels like... Wait, was it Fortnite? I can't remember which interview it was, but he said mentally, I kind of feel like this is for like a vacant belt because I lost my last fight.
And dude, you know what's the best part? Here's how it goes. They fight for the vacant belt.
Who?
Vulcan,
DC
and Vulcan. DC and Vulcan right now fighting for essentially the vacant belt. Vulcan wins. Vulcan goes to prison. DC and Jones fight for the vacant belt. Jones gets flagged again. DC and Vulcan fight for the vacant belt. Part 2. It is going... There's not going to be a heavyweight champion for like 3 years. Light heavyweight, yeah. That is actually a very real possibility, which is really sad.
Can't forget Gus, though. He's right there.
Gus hasn't fought in...
like 6 months.
6 months, and there's still that head trauma rumor.
He got like knee surgery or neck surgery or some shit I think he was getting.
He's been off for a while.
Yeah.
And there was hints of him coming back, and then like that shit got shut down.
Yeah, he's
saying like he's still having trouble. Yeah. I heard it, I forget who, maybe like Eugene S. Robinson or somebody.
Yeah, since that division is the most shallow division in the entire roster.
Barely. 85 is real close.
Or 125, technically? Because, or is that just because Mighty Mouse is so good?
I'd rather watch a lot of flyweight fights than fucking middleweight fights.
I don't know, middleweight still has a bunch of killers, though, right? Well, maybe not anymore.
Like, how many times do we have to watch Sam Alvey and fucking Elias Theodorou fight?
Point. God damn it.
Like, there's a lot of those dudes.
Darren Till, I think, will definitely actually take some middleweight fights eventually. That dude is almost too big for welterweight.
He's super young, too. Yeah.
No, when he gets older, he's going to move up because he's not going to be able to cut. He's only, 24 now? 24, almost 25, so... Yeah. Which, speaking of which, let me show you a picture. Him and Sacktown's own... Jimmy Manuel, look at the size. It's not too big of a size difference.
No, he's maybe a little bit he's wearing a sweater, which makes it a little tougher, but they look pretty similar.
Yeah, it's wow. So Darren Till's a massive fucking welterweight.
Yeah, Rogan I think had said that.
He honestly he is the biggest welterweight. He has to be. He's probably the largest welterweight.
There's somebody I forget who I'm
just height and width.
I forget who I'm thinking of, but somebody is way bigger. Or not way bigger, but bigger. Tyron's probably not that far behind.
Yeah, he's more wide and thick.
He's short, but he's huge.
Darren Till, I think, 6'1".
Yeah, there's somebody that I'm forgetting that is humongous for that weight class. Colby's pretty fucking big for that weight class.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 5'11".
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, sorry, I'll get back to it. Then they said the Bellator tournament is not organized because at this point, how long is it going to take to complete? July? They're just
Who fucking knows, man? I mean, it's going to be all alternates by the end.
Yeah, and they were talking about the alternate possibilities. Or
that's more likely than not.
Who has the most star power in this tournament right now? Chael is I guess is up there, but they said they think it's a fucking mess. They said they were talking about the Khabib versus Tony announcement. They think it's going to be for the undisputed lightweight title.
That was the rumor.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. It should be.
I mean, because Tony
is a
10-fight win streak in the division?
You can't defend an interim belt. So that's not how interim belts work.
Yeah, no. Renan Barão technically did it.
No, okay. If you can't defend it if the champ is injured. Or isn't injured.
Yeah.
If Conor didn't have a knee, it would be one thing, but Conor's just rich and fat.
Or was he the fucking Diddy bread? Who even uses the term Diddy? No.
Who references Diddy like he's doing well? He's doing
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
He's also 90 and it's really he's on Love and Hip Hop or something fucking awful.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But Way of the Warrior episode 376 was solid.
It sounds solid.
I have one other catch this, but I'll let you get to your second one because I know you had one as well.
Yeah. So my other catch this is for Care Don't Care, UFC 220 and Bellator 192.
Were there any ones that they did to troll, it was just egregious with?
Well, so Care Don't Care...
It was one that you'd care about, but they're like, nah, and they tried to sell it?
No, not really. I mean,
Not even Eugene?
So Eugene wasn't on this episode.
Oh, okay.
It's actually, it's Kid Nate, or Kid Nate of Bloody Elbow, and John Nash filled in for Eugene, because Eugene had something he had to do. I forget what.
Beat up some Nazis?
Yeah, he had to fight Nazis. So Nate opens, of course, by making fun of Eugene and talking about all the stories that Eugene said he was going to tell, but now he can't because he's not on. Just all bullshit. They do talk about the Spike Twitter account, which is how I heard about it. The Spike Twitter account's losing their goddamn mind over the last couple days. And they break down the Bellator card, and they're not hyped about any of the fights other than the main and the co-main. And then for the UFC card, pretty much zero hype for that one either, except for the top 2 fights. I think maybe there's one more. What was it? I believe they called it 2 fights and 3 fighters. Was there intake on it? Something like that. Or maybe that was Josh Gross, actually. I think that said that. But yeah, mostly why I picked this is because they go on some motherfucking tangents. Nate shits all over Coker for switching the main event.
I was going to say, another person that did that, and I listened to...
Eve Edwards?
Ariel was like...
Oh, yeah,
why?
Ariel went bad. Eve Edwards did the best
Come
one.
on, and I kind of agree,
No, it's stupid. It's also not Scott Coker's decision. It wasn't his.
See, Ariel didn't believe him. It's dude, come on, of course it's the fucking network.
No, of course, they no, you know how this conversation went? They went, wait, you're not having the pretty dude who can talk well and the guy from the A-Team movie on the fucking main event on our god at heavyweight? That's not what you're doing.
You know how many
Instead,
times,
you're having
you know how many times we showed the you know how many times we showed the A-Team on Spike, Scott.
It's 100%.
The Spike, or excuse me, the new Paramount audience, they know who.
I wonder if A-Team was made by Paramount.
I think it actually was.
If it was,
it actually was.
That would be even worse. But anyway, yeah, so Nate just goes hard against that. So they talk about Rampage, which leads to talk about Vanderlei, which leads to talk about axe murderers, which leads to talk about horror movies. So then they just go on this weird horror movie tangent for a while that's pretty entertaining about dope horror movies. How like, oh, dude, the first 2 Halloweens are actually really good. And like just this weird tangent. And then they basically don't care about any of the 220 prelims. And which segues into like a good solid 5 to 10 minutes of Rolling Stones talk. Nash notices the painting on Nate's wall, which leads to a bunch of, which is how that came about, because it's a Rolling Stones, like some fucking painting. And then that I actually found out Kid Nate has a podcast about rock music called Let It Roll. That actually sounds like it might be legit. I actually may check it out. We probably won't cover it on the show because it has 0% to do with MMA. Unless I can find an episode where he had an MMA fighter on, but I doubt that. But I thought that was cool. And yeah, they really didn't care much about any of this stuff. They talked about how DC called Jones Bundy, which you guys heard on our intro, which is fucking hilarious. And that leads to a solid maybe 10-15 minutes talking about serial killers. Including they keep accidentally giving accolades to serial killers, like being like, I mean, his numbers were crazy, and like, I mean, not that it's good.
About Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy,
yep, a lot of that,
Jeffrey Dahmer, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a lot of those dudes, and then some sweet Travis Bickle references, obviously. And then they started comparing fighters to serial killers and who's most like who.
So probably Rory MacDonald, Stephen Bonner.
Right.
Who else?
I believe, yeah, it was some of those. And they're just like...
By the way, the A-Team was 20th Century Fox, not Paramount. Sorry, I just had to look it up because I said that'd be too much of a coincidence.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah,
the fact that they're like, obviously, fucking put the 2 people know in the event. It's a super network exec decision. And that's where our second clip of the podcast comes from this episode as well, where Nate talks about the Francis Ngannou versus Stipe matchup and how it's a classic style matchup. So be excited to hear that later because it's fucking great. And then they talk about the worst Nazis for a while, and they give their picks for Stipe versus Ngannou, and that leads to a huge derailment about Kiss. Not super fight centered, but it was just a lot of really solid jokes, a lot of them having the same feeling that we're probably going to have while breaking down this card. Being like, wow, there's a lot of Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series guys on this card. I just thought it was a fun one, and despite not having Eugene, who's normally my favorite part of that show, John Nash and Kid Nate had some super funny exchanges, so I recommend people check it out if you're looking for some maybe the least helpful breakdown of all the breakdowns. No, second least helpful. Platinum Mike Perry did give his picks for 220 with his girlfriend again.
Oh, I saw some quick little clip on Instagram. He's wearing like some bear hat. Right?
Yep. It's real good.
And he's wearing his Gucci shirt again with Bugs Bunny on it.
Yep, it's real good. I highly recommend. I highly recommend people check it out.
That answers that.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Mike Perry gets so fucking high before those things. It seems like so. Yeah, good shit. But that's my other catch for this week. What was your last catch that you wanted to cover?
My last one is going to be a podcast I believe it was last week you mentioned you'd finally listen to. And I was like, you know what? I'll check it out too. Loaded Joe's. This one I listened to. I know he puts out multiple a week.
Music bed during the whole thing?
Yes, it was. It was
so weird.
It was a little weird, to be honest.
But it's not distracting, really, right?
It's a little distracting.
Only when you recognize it, like you forget.
To be fair, it was only distracting because I was in PB driving in traffic, so I was like, oh, well, here's this music in the background, but It was this technique talk I listened to, and it was only about like 35 minutes, but I enjoyed it. He was talking about the Stephens and Choi's fight, and he was talking about this chick, what's her name, Loma and Invicta.
Yeah.
Talking about setting up kicks.
Dude, Loma looked legit.
He was discussing front kicks and how certain styles like Muay Thai can negate other styles. He talked about his experience learning karate when he was younger. That kind of thing. He talked about Francis Ngannou's struggles against grapplers like Blades, and I guess it was Hamilton who had kind of given him a little bit of issues in the beginning. It was in the beginning of the fight.
Hamilton less so, but for sure Blades took him deep into the fight.
And he was talking about Henrique as well.
Luis Henrique.
He was saying the takedowns against Francis made him... you can go ahead and...
Oh, yeah, I'll crack this. I just want to shout out this beer since it's named...
Claremont?
Yeah, it's the Raspberry Goes from Claremont. Unfortunately, it's Claremont not with an I, so it's not
It's Claremont,
our Claremont.
California.
Yeah, Claremont, California,
The
not
city.
the... Yeah. The city, not the neighborhood, or whatever the fuck you call it, but...
Anyways, he was saying the takedowns against Francis make him hesitant to throw power shots. And that was really interesting, because, oh shit, that's true. If you know someone's good, is a very good wrestler, a.k.a. if fucking Kane fought Francis...
Oh, I think Kane murders Francis.
Yeah, Francis would be like, oh shit, well I can't throw my power shot because my weight's going to shift forward and then he'll just throw me on my ass. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is going to be interesting for tomorrow night's fight. We'll see if Stipe decides to use his wrestling skills, which he's very fucking good at. We just never see it anymore because, well, to be fair, he's a great boxer too.
Yeah, that Mark Hunt fight, dude. We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
His official pick is Stipe for that very reason. He thinks Stipe is going to just kind of keep at range, gauge the distance, avoid the clinch, because that's Francis' bread and butter.
Yep.
As of now, at least, because he can use his strength and just throw people around. Because he's probably the strongest heavyweight, just pure physicality. Mm-hmm. And he was just saying Stipe's defense and head movement with his boxing experience is going to be the biggest difference maker in this fight and how the stand-up exchanges go. But he says he believes Francis only really relies on his power hooks and uppercuts. He's never he knows he has an okay jab, but that's about it. And yeah, as far as his leg kicks, I've never seen Francis throw leg kicks.
No, I've only seen him counter leg kicks.
Yeah, but I just wanted to shout out the guy. I always forget his name, but he's from Austin, Texas, and it was cool. It was a quick little good technique talk, and I think he does a good job.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's good. Although it should be noted, if you can do this for any fucking podcast, but he did say last week, Jeremy Stephens is not a knockout artist. I don't know why people keep saying this. He hasn't knocked anybody out since 2015. But, I mean, to be fair, I've said all kinds of incorrect shit. I called Ronda Rousey over Holly Holm all goddamn day on this podcast. Yeah.
I still remember
I called Leslie Smith over Cyborg.
I still remember your reaction when everyone is surprised.
Everyone's reaction.
I remember you were literally just sitting there.
I was like,
really?
What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And it wasn't as bad as Aldo McGregor. That one, I was like...
that was just a waste of time.
Bro.
No, I was just like, hey, I'm glad I didn't buy this fight.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, I did buy this fight.
Yeah, we totally bought that legitimately and watched it.
I'm glad I went to a friend's house who bought the fight and I gave him $5.
Yeah, you went to my place where I totally bought it legitimately. So, yeah, that podcast is real good. Like, short and brief. They do, like, a lot of episodes, but short ones. So, he puts out, like, 2, maybe 3 a week. They're all, like, 30 minutes or so. Really solid. So, I highly recommend checking it out. And, yeah, I'm glad you dug it. Did you end up listening to the one with his beer reviews and taking fan questions?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
He just put that one out. I haven't caught it yet, but I bet it's great. Because he's just now getting into stouts and like not really into IPAs yet.
Speaking of stouts, I had a fantastic stout last night, courtesy of Modern Times. It's a City of the Dead Nitro in the can. It's a purple can, real good. It's like chocolate with vanilla. And like caramel and some other... there's their coffee that was aged in bourbon barrels.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds legit. I had some weird moonshine today at the liquor store.
Like the one with the cherries in it?
No, that stuff's great. This one was good too. I forget, it's like American Craft Moonshine or some bullshit name like that. I don't know. I had an apple pie one, a sweet tea one, and a regular White Lightning one. It was pretty good. Nice. All right. I still would prefer to eat a jar full of goddamn booze cherries, like a champion because Old Smoky is the jam. But it was pretty solid. Nice. Cool, man. So that is the catches for this week. why don't you let people know, oh, we should do a disclaimer just because we're saying to skip your show, a Eugene S. Robinson style disclaimer. Just because we're saying to skip your show does not mean we think that your show is not worth listening to. Overall, doesn't mean you don't have good episodes. Just means this week shit was rough to get through, and it was a better use of time would have been not listening. So, Chris, what is your skip for this week?
I only listened to a couple of guests. I'd probably say the MMA Hour. I haven't listened to that show in a long time. Probably a couple weeks. I don't know if I guess necessarily a skip. I don't know. I think it was a skip because Ariel was just instigating Scott Coker the whole time. Saying, really? I don't believe you, Scott. Sorry, with all due respect, that kind of thing, blah, blah, blah.
Well, he spent so long in the beginning of that show whining about how Rory's in the main event where you're like, bro, we get it. We all know how much you love Rory.
You're homies
but
with him. You're both Canadian.
And also, one thing that is interesting from that interview, though, is Scott at one point admits that Ariel's the reason why Rory ended up in Bellator.
Oh yeah,
because Scott said he asked Ariel, and Ariel's like, yes, you should fucking pick him up, which is kind of crazy. And again, I'm sure we'll get him banned from the UFC.
That's actually a very large, what do we call in journalism? Conflict of interest.
Huge conflict of interest, much like the motherfucking body armor fucking drink that he had on his desk, which is the new sponsor of the UFC. Just has a fucking bottle of it there, just sipping from it, never addresses it. We were like, what the fuck is that? It'd be
like if I got media credentials, I went to a UFC press conference, and I plugged our UFC podcast. I plugged our podcast or some shit.
Right.
On this podcast, the Pulver and Christopher James, talked about this. Excuse me, isn't that yours? What? What?
It's real over the top, man.
Yeah, he had DC on there. I listened to DC on. He was pretty much on a shitload of podcasts.
DC was on everything this week. Yeah.
One things he said that were kind of funny. He basically was saying the only way Volkan could win is via KO. He said this is basically like him. He's fighting Rumble again, except it's the JV version of Rumble.
Yep, I thought that was hilarious. They had a wrestling competition. He lost.
Yeah.
and then when Rumble lost twice, now he gets his chance.
He says mentally, he's experienced worse things than a loss in an MMA fight. He's had a very tragic upbringing. We don't have to bring it up. I think we've mentioned it before.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
But he was
everybody knows by now.
Yeah, and he was just talking about too. Why am I emotional during after loss? I'm just that competitive, and I don't blame him. I don't know if I would cry if I lost the match. It probably depends on what kind of manner. Say you're that close to winning and you fucking blew it, and yeah, it's all based on the context. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with being emotional in sports.
Yeah,
you're trying to win.
He so fucking competitive. He always.
You see in the NFL, they mentioned it in the beginning. Ariel was fucking with him because DC's team is the Saints, and I don't know if you watched the game or that miracle ending the Minnesota Vikings got last week is pretty fucking chaos.
Yeah,
they had that last minute touchdown because the Saints defender missed a sure tackle, which he should have made that tackle, but. Yeah, of course the guy was fucking crying, dude. If I blew the game too, I'd fucking would not want to talk to. Yeah.
You know shit gonna be bad for a minute. Yeah. Shit isn't gonna be good.
So, there's that. That's my skip. I know it's not fair technically to be skipped because I didn't listen to the other guests. I know, I don't even remember who else. He had Chaels on there, I think.
Yeah, here I got you.
Cool.
Luke Rockhold Skyped in. Douglas Lima called in. Big John Skyped in. Choi called in. Scott Coker we talked about. Brian Kelleher is in studio. Pimping his CBD sponsor. Cyborg Skypes in and whines a lot.
I do not want to fight the Philippines Union.
One thing I fucking took notes on because I was so annoyed. So Cyborg keeps bringing up that Amanda Nunes had losses back in 2014 and 2011.
She lost to Kat Zingano, like that kind of shit. Right? Yeah.
She literally said she lost to Kat Zingano. She lost to Alexis Davis, and you're like, yo, you keep bringing up Amanda's losses from 2014 and 2011. But for sure, you get real mad when people bring up your steroid test from 2011. So maybe you always say oh, that's no longer relevant. You're like, that's fine, but
or Dana.
You can't have them both ways, bro.
Or when Dana said Chris Cyborg is Vanderlei Silva.
Also, when I say bro, I don't mean to assign a gender to Cyborg. I mean, as a fellow human being, I'm calling you bro.
It's just fighter talk.
Also, I've said this same phrase to my girlfriend in reaction to something crazy she said. Like, really, bro? So yeah, but man, I don't know. It was just some misty. It's some.
Who do you like in that fight? Because I feel like that's gonna happen.
I think Amanda Nunes kills her.
I think so too. Yeah.
After the way Dean Thomas talked about that matchup and the way Amanda wants that matchup,
I can't remember who the fuck it was that talked about it, but Miocic Tate said, "I've sparred against men before."
So someone did bring that up this week.
Fuck, who was that? I think it was Co-Main. Yeah, it was co-main event. Yeah, because Chad was like, Amanda Nunes hit so hard, Misha thought it was like a guy punching her or something.
Promotional malpractice.
Oh, it was Luke. That's who it was.
I literally have those two notes for those podcasts right next to each other, though. So
because that's when Luke is like, I pronounce it Nunes and Nunes. Because it was it was, the only time it was irritating me is he'd be like, Amanda Nunes, and then like 5 seconds, Nunes says, it's like, come on, choose.
Yeah, just go full Chad Dundas and don't even try.
Yeah. We have our names too, like our boy Nike Pierce and.
For sure. Yeah, I butcher names on the regs.
Yeah.
Shouts out to calling Emil Meek every fight up until the last one. But yeah, it was a pretty skippable show from Ariel. The only thing I would say is like it's cool hearing all the Strikeforce dudes on one show.
Yeah.
And I always like hearing Scott Coker, even though Scott Coker was a little salty. He's been kind of salty last like week or 2 weeks, like just because of he clearly did not want to go head to head with the UFC. He clearly did not want to have Chael versus Rampage in the main event. Like, there's a lot of things Scott didn't want that are clearly happening, and you can tell he's getting fucking annoyed. So that's interesting. So we'll see how that works out. My skip for this week is 0% to do with the content of the podcast and 100% to do with the quality of the podcast. Unfortunately, I'm having my skip as Phonebooth Fighting episode 171 with Big John McCarthy. Dude, the audio is terrible. It sounds like they put Richard's phone down on a table and are recording.
Well, you know what that reminds me of? I did try to listen to a Phonebooth Fighting because they had 2 episodes this week. The other one is like, oh, here we are.
The most recent one that came out
It was
today,
like, here we are with professional wrestler. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Sorry. And I tried fast forwarding. I'm like, oh, wait. Like, 2/3 of this is with a pro wrestler, which I'm sorry to anyone listening if you like the WWE. I don't. So I will never listen to anyone unless they're like a giant, massive UFC or MMA fan in general. But other than that, sorry.
I 100%...
Like, Chris Jericho was chill on this one episode of... that guy's fine, and there's a couple other ones that are cool, but... I think he's retired. That's the difference.
There's only one pro wrestler I ever want to hear talk, and he's dead. His name is Andre. And then other than that...
Steve Austin seems okay.
Actually, Stone Cold is fine. He's drunk. Actually, he's not even that much of a drunk anymore.
And The Rock loved MMA.
The Rock is legit.
The Rock is fun.
The Rock's fun. Yeah. But especially since he gave a shout out to Crooklyn at one point, which was cool. But no, the only wrestling podcast I fucks with is The Laps Fan, and you already know because it's up in that ass. If you guys don't know The Laps Fan, that probably sounds real weird. You should probably go listen to The Laps Fan though. I highly recommend their WrestleMania episodes, where they they break down every WrestleMania and they get all up in that ass. Fucking God. JP Saro's Vince impression. It's Jack Encarnacio from formerly of Sherdog.
No, that's right. I recognize that name.
He's great. And then it's him and his old high school or old college buddy JP Saro, who's like an actor and like does some like stuff. It's super funny, dude.
That's cool.
It's fucking hilarious. I don't even like pro wrestling. I hate pro wrestling, actually. I don't like watching pro wrestling. I've never enjoyed it. Even as a kid, I didn't like it.
Oh, no. You know what made me... Okay, I used to watch... I wouldn't say all the time. Like, if it was on TV, like, if it was SmackDown or Raw, right? I would catch it. Like, yeah, cool. Rey Mysterio's the best. I remember I went to SmackDown. I was like 12.
Bro.
Yeah, I was 12.
Orale.
Yeah, I thought he was going to win. Yeah, JBL pretty much murdered him.
Gibbles and bits?
Yeah, right? John Bradshaw Layfield murdered him, and then after they cut, that was like the recorded part, they did a thing for the crowd where they had Ray come back and win, but that was never aired. I'm like, yeah, this is super, super fake. You already know as a kid. I'm like, I'm never watching it again. And I never did. Didn't care.
So I just never cared. I always thought it was really, pardon the 90s expression of when I was watching this, I thought it was gay as fuck. It's like, this is like literally like the gayest version of acting I've ever seen. And yeah, I just never got into it. But the Laps fan is so goddamn good that I know that Andre the Giant fucking slammed. He was a slimy boss. Got slammed by fucking Hulk Hogan at the Detroit goddamn Superdome or whatever it was in Michigan at WrestleMania 3. I hate wrestling, but that show is so goddamn good that I highly recommend it. Anyway, we're off topic. So yeah, instead of Phonebooth Fighting this week, go ahead and listen to that. And I'm actually going to do something. I'm going to mess around and see if I can actually fix the audio from Phonebooth Fighting. I'm sure it's a great episode. Big John is always good. But man, it's a fucking bummer that like it's bad audio quality.
Yeah,
to the point where like I suffer through a lot of bad audio.
The most important part of your episode is bad. That's
and I suffer through a lot of bad audio. But like it's just so crunchy and like just sounds terrible that like it seems like maybe their setup wasn't working or something and Richard just taped it off his phone. Like it's really bad. Everyone's levels are terrible. So I'm gonna run it through Audacity and Level later and see if I can make something useful of it. Maybe I'll cover it next week. So I feel bad. I like everyone involved. I bet it was a great episode, but it was just real bad audio. Anyway, and why don't you, now that we've covered that, why don't you get into your can't miss episode for the week?
I don't have a can't miss.
That's right.
But listen, this why I had pre-catch this. I do have a new podcast I listen to.
Okay, why don't you save that for a second?
I will. Yeah, because I know I was going to ask you what's your new.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and go.
Perfect.
Can't miss.
So my can't miss is MMA. I actually have two can't misses because I'm a big old cheater, so I'll cover yours as well. My first can't miss is MMAJunkie Radio, episode 2604 with TJ Santis and Matt Brown. It's fucking awesome. TJ Santis.
The fighter Matt Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Called in. So TJ Santis is in studio in Vegas, which is kind of rare and clearly a sign of where Sherdog is at, because Sherdog and MMAJunkie were like the two big radio empires in MMA media, kind of. I mean, MMA Nation like has kind of is like that, but they don't have credentials because fucking UFC is a garbage show. So it's kind of weird seeing them on the same podcast. So that was just cool, and they talk a lot about it. They do have some sweet Tom DeLonge references on the intro, or on the show before the show.
Oh, so Aliens, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, TJ was making some sweet Tom DeLonge references. And then TJ compares it to like almost a Geneva Convention where it's Sherdog and Junkie kind of coming together for the first time pretty much ever on radio. It's pretty cool. And you find out later, like, they have basically a shared history almost. MMA Circle was so small back then, especially in radio, that they have a lot more similarities than differences. But talk a bit about Roy versus Lima. Talk a bit about Sonnen versus Rampage, whether Sonnen can get the takedown. And then,
especially with that weight difference.
For real. And then they talk a bit about like how TJ got into MMA radio, which essentially was because of Ryan Bennett. Also the dude named Eddie, who I always forget his last name. But Ryan Bennett was the big one, and that's why we always have shout out to Ryan Bennett in the in our show notes, because Ryan Bennett was the man. He used to do sound off radio way back in the day, and then eventually started doing it with Frank Trigg as well. And they just started telling a bunch of old stories. It's fucking awesome. Like TJ talks about, since Ryan Bennett was the reason he got into it, they like and Ryan Bennett of course did the show with Frank Trigg that Gorgeous George and Goes of MMAJunkie Radio listened to, and then later went on to do a show with Frank Trigg. So it just was like this weird circle, and they all have all these stories about the crazy episodes of whatever it was. I always forget the name of this show unless I say Ryan Bennett Sound Off. they all tell stories about all these crazy interviews, and like if they're on the air, sometimes like Joe Silva or Dana White would just call in and correct them on shit because it was the only show back then. It's just kind of fucking wild. It's really, really cool to hear. And it explains a lot of... We'll actually play a clip of them talking about some of the great interviews that they did, which are crazy sounding interviews, but just a great example of why so many people got into MMA podcasts. And, I mean... If I could hear dudes I like hearing podcasts from talking about the dudes they like hearing podcasts from, I would listen to that all goddamn day. That's why I'm a fan of Pod Gods, our buddies over there with Gio and Lax Dude.
That's right.
So, after that, Matt Brown calls in, and he talks a bit about coming out of retirement, and...
He just got a fight confirmed.
Yeah, against, what's his face? Diego Nope.
No.
It's the other dude
he
who
murdered Diego Sanchez.
Fuck. Why do I not have this written down? Yeah, look that up if you could.
I'll go find it right
Google
now.
Matt Brown and go to news, and it'll be the first one. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's, shit. I like Quinta Paul Felder and Matt Brown and...
Well, because I like Quinta is fighting Paul Felder, right?
Yeah, and then Matt Brown got confirmed for...
God damn it, I
have
forgot
my
who it
notes
was
at the
too.
bottom, maybe? Shit, no I don't. Yeah. I don't know, Chris is pulling that up. Anyway. They talk about that. Matt Brown also talks about... he tells a crazy story about fighting in a small show and soccer kicking the shit out of somebody. And, like, since the dude was being a dick and the ref was a friend of Matt's, he just let him keep soccer kicking him because it was the fucking Midwest and they don't give a shit. Especially back in the 90s. And then they just... after Matt leaves, they talk to TJ more about just his history, how he came to work at Sherdog, old, like, street fight stories. They talk about TJ's Vikings and how they're fucking cursed.
I wouldn't say that yet, but, well, maybe still.
Not this year, but every other year.
Yeah, like I said,
He's like they're like Chargers levels of curse.
For anyone who follows the NFL and, as a former Chargers fan myself, other teams that never won a Super Bowl, the Vikings are playing another team that's never won, the Eagles. So that's a battle of which team's going to let down the fans.
It's a battle of sad.
Yeah, because if Philly loses, they're going to destroy their... No, if they win, they'll destroy Philadelphia. So
I think they'll burn that shit down either way.
Well, if they win the Super Bowl, that city's going to be just in the goddamn Stone Age.
I can't wait for the It's Always Sunny episode about it, though.
Yeah, right?
But yeah, other than that, at one point TJ makes fun of George and goes about... Because Gorgeous George asks, like, how's our... Because TJ talks to...
Oh, sorry.
Right.
This is a fucking great fight. Matt Brown will be fighting Carlos Condit.
I knew it was somebody who was, like, semi-retired.
April 14th.
Yeah.
Also on that card
fight.
is Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier.
That's a good card. That's an all-violence card of the year, for sure.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Jordan Breen and all the...
I don't know what the king of violence, Eddie Alvarez, will think of that.
That's right.
But,
fun stuff. But yeah, overall, just a great fucking episode from them. Gorgeous George, TJ at one point mentions he's a big audio snob, and he's really particular about, like, all parts of audio production, which we've covered on the show before.
So he's probably an audiophile when it comes to, like, headphones and headsets.
Oh, too. For sure. Because he grew up working at radio stations.
Which brand or has he mentioned which one he prefers?
No, I don't know. I don't know what he goes headphones wise. He might actually just have a bunch of cans laying around that are like whatever generic, like Audio Technica, whatever.
Yeah, because like my head, like
or not
earbuds.
Monoprice.
When I had them, I had the Bose ones, and I used to work for us, and they were cool. They were a good brand.
Yeah, the problem with studio headphones though is they get so fucking beat up that like you can only drop
easy.
so much.
And the ones that my budget ones, which are great, are Klipsch. That's a really good brand.
I always just go Monoprice. They have fucking great studio headphones that are like $12 or something crazy. But yeah, anyway, at one point, Gorgeous George goes, TJ, what about our audio quality? Is there anything, what do you think? He's like, well, you probably should get off the headset mics, and which is fucking great to hear because it's 100% true. So it's funny hearing TJ semi-roast him on that. And then Gorgeous George brings up that he's not a big WMMA fan, and TJ shits on him for it. And yeah, Gorgeous George gives out a bunch of terrible UFC 200 parlays because he loves parlays, like Sam Tripoli loves parlays in the way that they love to say, "Oh man, I hit 5 out of 6 fights on that parlay. If only that one would have hit," even if that one is like the first fight in the parlay. So you're like, "Oh, your parlay was dead immediately. It was a terrible parlay."
Yeah.
So it was a good episode, and they're just fun as hell. I really like those guys. The other one, I'm not going to cover in that much detail other than to say John Danaher on the Joe Rogan Experience MMA Show, episode 11, was a fucking masterclass. He basically did a footlock seminar on that thing. They did a frame by frame breakdown of Gordon Ryan, his student.
That's right. I remember that guy's a fucking beast.
Yeah, so they did a breakdown of his match against Cyborg, a brew, in jiu-jitsu back at the Worlds, I think. And man, it is a fucking masterclass. That dude 100% sounds like Hannibal Lecter, and he is 100% maybe the most technical sounding dude I've ever heard when it comes to grappling. Also, go ahead.
I was going to say, so if BJJ Scout actually had his real voice, maybe BJJ Scout is John Danaher in real life.
No.
I know, I'm kidding, but there's this thing because BJJ Scout, he'll never reveal his real identity.
Right.
If you've watched his videos, he has this creepy robot voice that he does.
Yeah. Well, also for John Danaher, he's from New Zealand. So that's pretty easy to pick out. But one thing I do want to say, it's not his fault he sounds like John Danaher. I think super intellectual dudes from New Zealand have a weird cadence. Because I had an optometrist who was from New Zealand that sounds almost exactly like John Danaher. They're just very methodical. They talk very slowly and very particularly, and they over-enunciate everything. But it was really weird but funny to hear. But it's just a fucking great episode.
Like, over-enunciate would mean like, you know, he really secured that leg lock.
No.
Like
they don't have an accent like that. It's not like Kiwi. It's like in the sense that you'd think like not Rhett and Link, with the two dudes who had that great fucking show. Hippopotamus, my rhymes is bottomless. Fucking, I forget the name of that show. It's somebody and something. But anyway, no, they don't have any kind of New Zealand accent. In like, he sounds like my optometrist, who they just sound very particular, and like, so it's like it's closer to like uppity British than it is to like Australian.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, where it's very particular and they pronounce every part of the word, and they're going to speak very slowly so you can clearly hear, and they're going to repeat. I want to repeat this very specifically because it's important. Like, every part of the word gets enunciated in like
Joe
a very
just like
particular
the whole
way.
time?
Oh, dude, it was great.
Yeah.
He's asking Joe like, "Okay, Joe, so now that you have the opponent down, what's the next thing you want to do?" Joe's like, "Well, I want to look for a submission or try and gain a better position." And he's like, "Right, but to gain a better position, how would you like?" It's very particular and methodical, and it's very cool to hear Rogan like struggling to see what he like, what the way he's headed, but then
Try not
also
to interrupt,
constantly having
yeah.
that too, but constantly having his goddamn mind blown too. It's great. They also talk about GSP's camp and how fucked up it was. He said GSP trained 6 weeks out. He trained 4 of the 6 weeks leading up to that fight, where he had 2 weeks he trained. He had 2 weeks where he couldn't train because he was so fucked up from his stomach issues, and then he had 2 weeks back on before the fight where he could train. It's like,
is that why his stomach was bloated, or was it bloated?
No,
because
that's because of that.
Gain?
But it's that whatever. I keep wanting to say vitiligo, but that's so not the disease he has.
Did he have diverticulitis?
Yeah, no, that's Brock Lesnar. It's some like colitis.
Well,
or
it was
something.
just called colitis.
I think so.
That's what he said he had.
Yeah.
Colitis.
Yeah. It's a specific kind of it, but yeah. And that was fucking him up like way before. So he had to take like a couple weeks off during camp. And Danaher said like, yeah, one of the worst camps I've ever been involved with. It's pretty crazy. And they talk about the chances of Tyron versus GSP, talk about Khabib's dominant ground game, Weidman's future, since of course he worked with Weidman for a long time. Just really fucking interesting, and like an incredible study on just one of the smartest dudes in the sport. Very particularly breaking down the leg lock game and how it came about. So if you're all interested in that, I highly, highly recommend checking it out. It's fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, man.
Dude,
that sounds sick.
It's like you sat in the back of a room at a clinic that he's doing, or at a...
You just kind of soak everything in, kind of just take notes.
It's crazy. So I highly recommend
I gotta check that out because I'd still like to be more knowledgeable and versed kind of just in the whole realm of
jiu-jitsu. You would learn a shitload about leg locks and how they work by watching that, because he does a frame by frame. He literally says, okay, stop here. Okay, now what's he looking for? And he breaks down exactly why everything is working. But for Gordon Ryan, who's trained jiu-jitsu for 5 years, against Cyborg Abreu, who's had a black belt for longer than Gordon Ryan is trained. It's crazy. So it's really interesting. Highly recommend it. But what is your new podcast that you recommend?
It's called Martian MMA.
I've been meaning to catch this one. It's pretty recent. I think they're 4 or 5 episodes in.
Yeah, it's episode 6, if I recall correctly. He said Paige Van Zandt versus Jessica Rose Clark.
Yep.
Set MMA back a couple of years. Terrible fucking fight.
How dare you?
I wouldn't say terrible fight at all.
She broke her arm, for fuck's sake.
I mean, she hung in there. Right?
Yeah, and it wasn't the worst fight. It was it would have been more competitive.
Yeah, I think he kind of exaggerated, jumped the gun a little bit there in the beginning.
Well, yeah, and Paige throwing the fucking same kick over and over again.
That
probably.
Switch kick, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
It's tough.
He says, we all need to see Kamaru Usman at full health, which, I mean, who knows at this point if we really have.
I think we did in the, we have in a couple of fights. When he knocked out
Sergio
Moraes. That was pretty close, I think.
He said, Irene Aldana looked like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in her boxing. Says she has some of the best boxing he's... I don't know if he said ever seen, but he's seen just in that bantamweight division.
Yeah.
And he says he would actually like her chances against someone like a Cyborg, because she just kind of... I mean, I'm sure she
looked huge in that fight. Yeah. And she, that was the first time... We'll talk about it later, but that was the first time we've seen what she's done in Invicta in the UFC. Because she's had all of her fights in the UFC have not looked like she has in Invicta, and that was the first time she had moments where she looked like herself.
I just remember that Leslie Smith final. What is she doing?
Yeah, whereas in this one, she's just rattling off long combos that are hitting every single one, and just making it ugly as fuck. It was fun, man.
Another point he made, which I agreed with, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to see this guy fight, at least early, Michael Johnson's fight IQ is terrible. This guy is so good at hurting people early, but he never can seem to finish them. No matter how many times he sets opportunities for himself.
Mostly. I mean, of course, Dustin Poirier and stuff. But
he said he gave credit to Poirier, but he says he should have been able to finish Elkins or just adjust to his game plan in the second round.
That's easy to say, though.
It's too easy to say, yeah.
Elkins is so
He says he almost
tough.
wanted to give round 1 a 10-8 for Michael Johnson. That's a little
close.
It's close. Early round, that was pretty bad.
It was close, but it was...
And dude, you know me, I was so yes, I was watching that.
I was sitting there this is exactly how I thought this would go.
And then once I saw him get that single leg, I was like, oh, fuck.
As soon as the round ended, I was like, this is good for me. I might not have to drink terrible booze, even though I willingly joined you on the bungalow bandwagon.
Grandma's house booze.
Yeah, the grandma's dark rum that was left on fire in a fucking well.
Him and his buddy that he had named Luke says they want to see Jeremy Stevens versus Josh Emmett, which, of course, like we mentioned earlier,
that worked out well for him,
today. They said Darren Elkins' chin is fucking nuts. Said this dude's on a 6-fight win streak. They said the fight that makes sense for him is probably against, I guess, Ortega, but again, who knows? Ortega wants to fight anyone right now. Probably not.
Definitely not an Elkins.
But then they're saying, oh, wait, does he even have enough money or revenue coming in right now to even be able to wait?
Ortega?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he lives super expensive either, though.
I'm sure there's ways you can just literally just sit back and train and just chill. Because he did get $50,000, I think, for finishing cups, but still.
Yeah, I think he's lives pretty modestly from what I've heard. So.
They talked about the main event for tomorrow night. His guest named Luke likes Ngannou by decapitation in round 1, and the host agrees.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't go that far. Well, I'll get into what I think later. They said you don't need much star power and markability if you're the heavyweight champ. In sports, they said Anthony Joshua, one of the multiple heavyweight champs, I believe, in boxing, because I know boxing, they all have multiple belts, so there's a lot of champs.
Yep.
They said Joshua has 5 million followers. They said this means Stipe should be more popular, theoretically, because the UFC is such a huge fucking brand and has a big market, and they like Stipe a lot. They like his personality. I watched all the embeddeds. I think he's fucking hilarious.
I love Stipe.
But he doesn't go out of the way, though, too, to market himself.
He's no Anthony Johnson when it comes to charisma.
Yeah.
Like, as likable as Stipe is, like, I would argue he's more likable. He's a goddamn firefighter, which everyone loves to bring up.
One of the embeddeds, he was, like, just grinding up all the snow in his backyard to this machine. And he said, I'm done. Time to go play some Call of Duty, drink a beer or something like that.
Yeah, he's just the most relatable.
That's a nice thing about being a heavyweight. You can probably actually drink beer and get away with it. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Well, shouts out to all the heavyweights, because they
I remember Francis, too. I remember he was like, I get to enjoy this nice steak. You know, it's like, you get to say that. Not Anthony Steak Time Pettis.
No.
So, yeah, shouts out to them. I just wanted to jot that down real quick. For cool little... quick episode they had. Those guys at Martian MMA, brand new podcast. So, literally brand new.
Yeah, that's rad. I've been meaning to check it out, so maybe I'll do that here shortly. The podcast I wanted to give a shout out to was episode 1 of Dan Hardy's new podcast called Full Reptile Radio. Of course, it's a fucking reptilian podcast.
I remember BBC, they're like, what do we call you, Dan? The reptile? The lizard? And he's like, it's Reptile.
Yeah. Because he's full fucking reptilian, goddamn conspiracy theorist. But yeah, it's good. It's
so he's going to have Tom DeLonge on his show.
Dude, I would not be surprised.
Eddie Bravo.
I 100% think Eddie Bravo will be on that show. He said it's mostly going to be about MMA, but it's also just like an avenue for him to be able to come on and answer long-form questions.
You already know Eddie Bravo would throw out the old 9/11 shit. So, how much of a factor did Tony Blair's relationship with George W. Bush have to... It's like, all right.
Right. Yeah, but good episode though. It starts off with an old-timey sounding intro. The audio is a little quiet on this first episode, but it's only the first episode, so it's hard to blame me for audio issues on the first one, because that's just how that shit goes. You're not gonna know how it's gonna compress and all that, or sound in different people's setups. One thing that he does bring up is that the episodes are mostly going to have guests. So, plans to have guests the majority of the time. And he, like I said, he wants to use the platform to just talk more. It's only about 10 minutes. Pretty short, like first one. And the majority of it is about the Kamaru Usman win over Emil Mech. And he briefly mentioned Stephens and Choi, but mostly talks about Kamaru getting the win in his post-fight speech. And he gave a lot of credit to Emil Mech for always taking the fight to him, even like in the last round, despite getting clearly out-grappled in that fight.
Yeah.
And of course, Dan Hardy was hard on Usman, basically because he's like as much as this is a sport, you still have to entertain people. Which is easy to say when you're Dan Hardy and that's your entire goddamn style, your entire fight career was just winging wild shit on the feet the entire time in the Mech style. And also, Dan Hardy did get wrestle fucked a couple times throughout his career.
He has.
So while it is totally a legit point that he had, I thought it was funny to hear him say it. But just a fun episode. I feel like when he gets guests on and can like sit down with say for example like a Stephen Wright from Johnny Hendricks' old gym, or like some of those more technical guys like an Eddie Bravo, I feel like he's gonna have really interesting conversations, not only talking about like
that's a good point,
like technique breakdowns and matchup breakdowns.
Well, yeah, because just based on I caught most of it. The UFC breakdown he does with John Gooden.
It's always really good.
Yeah, very highly intellectual.
His tape study game is really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. We'll have a link in the description. They're not up on iTunes yet. However, he is in the process of making that happen. It sounds like he's waiting for approval based off the tweets he sent out, and we retweeted this during the week as well. So if you go to our Twitter, we'll have the links for that stuff too. But should be up on iTunes soon, and his website should be up shortly. But in the meantime, you can find it by going to our Twitter or in the show notes for this episode. But cool that I happened to catch that on Twitter, and I was like, oh, holy shit, Dan Hardy has a new show. Fucking fuck every other new show I was going to talk about. We'll do this. So, check it out. Was there any other honorable mentions or podcasts you wanted to shout out that were pretty good this week?
Co-main event was solid as usual, but other than that, nothing for me.
Yeah, co-main was solid. Heavy Hands 194 was pretty good, talking about Jessica I's crazy post-fight speech. And Conor Rebush makes a joke about renaming their show to Heavy Hips instead of Heavy Hands, because it's all about wrestling now. Nobody wants to see anybody strike anymore. Fucking Jessica I.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, they had some really good breakdowns of 220. Submission Radio did a good 220 preview. They had John Morgan on, Robin Black.
I haven't listened to them in a while.
Yeah, it was great. This is actually where I heard about Full Reptile Radio, Dan Hardy's podcast. They, like I said, they had John Morgan on to talk about the main event. They had Robin Black on to talk about the main and co-main, and then they had Dan Hardy call in. Dan Hardy talked about the fights and his new podcast. Behind the Paywall is the show that TJ Santis does on the Between Rounds Radio Patreon page. TJ is recording from his kid's room while and he announced that he passed out waiting for Jeff to finish taping The Outsiders. And TJ's recording from his kid's room because TJ just recently got a new studio that he's going to be moving into probably this weekend. And they hinted that most likely there's going to be a beatdown after the bell for UFC 220 where TJ and Sherdog are live in the same studio, which will be cool as shit if it happens. So keep an eye out for that. We will definitely tweet it out. TJ also says that they're going to do video soon, and TJ shouts out a super sketchy $11 emulator he bought where he can play a bunch of old arcade games and shit. I was like, well, that's super illegal, but that's funny. We talked Fortnite, MMA Roadshow 146 and a half, and 147 were both good. Sam Alvey and the Pound for Pound podcast came back this week, just kind of talking about what they've been up to and some of the California refs. Choi was on Adam Carolla's show this week. This almost got skipped from me, just because there's not a lot of Chael, and fucking Adam Carolla. I love Adam Carolla. One of my smartest thing I've ever heard. One of the things that I live my life by is Adam Carolla once said, "You don't have to be smart. You just have to listen to smart people." And I feel like that is the words to live by. However, this week, Adam Carolla fell for Chael's dumb, it's handsome and disappears without a trace gimmick. And then when Chael hangs up, obviously, and Adam goes, Chael? And Gina Grag goes, oh, I get it. And they're like, oh, Chael's done that bit to Adam multiple times. So, I don't know. Drove me nuts. Speaking of which, Chael was also on Big Round Breakdown this week. UFC Outsiders 220 was good. And Eugene S. Robinson Show Stompa was solid. However, very little MMA talk. A lot of Aziz Ansari talk. So, yeah, those are the shows I listen to. Pretty good. But
fuck yeah.
That's about all I wanted to cover. Cool. We will come back after this break and briefly talk about the card from last weekend where your boy Choi did not fare so well.
That boy did not.
And neither did your boy Michael Johnson. Shout out to Michael Johnson for making weight, dude. I did not think he was going to make weight.
Yeah, I'll be honest, if it wasn't against someone with such a chin like Elkins, he'd probably knock out half that weight roster.
Dude, he looked good in the first round, too.
Yeah, his speed was still there.
But Elkins is a motherfucker. Yep. So we will be right back. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and listen to TJ DeSantis talk about all of the awesome interviews that TJ DeSantis and Gorgeous Georgian Goes from MMAJunkie talk about all the dope interviews that Ryan Bennett used to give. So check that out, and we will be right back.
The other thing that I'm glad you brought up was Ryan Bennett. You know, now they have this contributor wing for the UFC, and I think Ryan at some point should go in the contributor wing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he worked for the UFC. Like, he directly
did 10 shows, right?
Yeah. And, you know,
he used to have Joe Silva on. This show was so big that if him and Trig were discussing something, Dana would call.
Oh, yeah.
And basically say, no, that's not the way it is. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, again, Wild West days, access to the president, Joe Silva, who didn't do interviews and doesn't do interviews, same thing. And that's why the UFC came up with the rule that only Dana was going to do interviews, because sometimes Joe actually spoke what was on his mind. He spoke the truth, and sometimes he was in disagreement with what upper management wanted to do. But that show was
matchups too.
Excuse me?
He would give away matchups too.
That show was interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That show had GSP rapping, for crying out loud, or at least attempting to rap. Eve Edwards, Dean Thomas rapping. They had a rap contest. A lot. That's the epic Nick Diaz rant.
Sam Hoger.
You know, I ain't no bitch, because him and Joe Riggs had gotten into it at a hospital. Ryan Bennett would actually go, let's talk to Rich Franklin. He'd call the MGM and just go, can I have Rich Franklin's room? And Rich wouldn't be too pissed about it, because not many people were giving Rich Franklin attention.
It's a different
time. So he's
time.
like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
He
was happy to be on MMA Weekly Radio, and it was something else. And now
Sylvia turkey calling in the middle of a Chinese restaurant. All kinds of
and
stuff.
now you got Fight Pass fighters that just may not want to give you the time of day.
All right, we are back. Here's a news story. Newcastle's on twist-offs. Don't ruin your hands trying to do that, like I almost just did. We're here to break down the UFC Fight Night 124 Stephens vs. Choi card, not the
UFC
Stephens
Orlando.
versus Emmett Orlando card, which we almost just tried to break down retroactively, even though it hasn't happened yet. So we will go ahead and start off at the top. Jeremy Stephens took on Doo-Ho Choi in a scrappy-ass main event.
Yeah, that first round, man, they were mirroring each other's styles. Like
Choi kept throwing the fucking low kick that I called for last week. I was like, God damn it, I know nothing about this sport. Which is how I feel the majority of the time when matchups actually end up happening. But holy shit, what a goddamn war. Choi looked really good in that first round. I gave it to him pretty handily.
Yeah, no, I gave him that first round too.
Like, he was landing significantly and had way more volume, I believe. I'm not looking at, like, metrics or anything, but it seemed like he was landing way more.
Yeah.
And then the second round, man, Jeremy Stephens got
just
getting clipped early, but then comes back and starts blasting him. Stephens also, I believe it was Eric Del Fiero in the corner between rounds, told him to start going forward, and just every time he sees Choi come in, just stand in the pocket and start throwing bombs. And he did exactly that. Started clipping him bad, and then anytime, forget who mentioned this week, maybe probably Luke Thomas, but anytime you got Doo-Ho Choi behind that double black line around the outside of the octagon, he would just start fucking unloading stuff. And man, was able to get him out of there at 2:36 of the second round, and fun fucking fight. So Doo-Ho Choi is probably going to take military service, right?
Yeah, he has to start that a year from now.
I believe it's by the end of the year. So
yeah, if I were to guess,
theoretically get one more fight.
He's probably gonna have one more fight for sure.
It would be smart of him. Maybe.
Let me pull up the old rankings here. Don't know how.
Yeah, because the one thing is he's coming off
Stephens
2 knockout
is now
losses.
number 8 after winning.
Is he?
He's number 8. He moved up a spot.
Oh, yes. Old, super legit, totally not bullshit rankings that the UFC has.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, featherweight. Choi is still at number 13. He could fight, if he wanted to come off to it, he could fight Miles Jury, who's at number 14. Mirsad Bektic is fighting soon. He's number 15. I think Bermudez he has a fight next week, actually. So
yeah, Bermudez is fighting.
I'd like to see Choi fight fucking Yair Rodriguez, number 10.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's a fun one. And they're both, like, green enough to where that makes sense.
You can't really say Elkins at this point.
No.
No.
I feel like you need to give... Choi needs to have like a legit step down in competition because he's been fighting like Cub Swanson, Jeremy Simmons back to back for 2 like rough losses. That's tough, man. You got to give him
Korean Zombie. Obviously, that's not going for anything lower or higher than 10. It's not going to be feasible.
I like maybe like the whoever takes an L in that Bermudez fight maybe. Because I forget who the other dude is, and it's fighting Bermudez.
I think it's an unranked guy actually fighting him.
It's somebody with a name though.
Yeah, but it's someone who's outside top 15.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I should probably look that up. Well, unless you got it right there.
I do not. Well, I can actually find out. Let me see.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. In the co-main, Jessica Rose Clark took on Paige Van Zant, the one-arm bandit. Paige broke her arm fucking bad at the end of the first.
Yeah, this was definitely not a fight that set MMA back. That is a ridiculous claim by...
Right. It's also not a fight that set Paige Van Zant forward at all. Other than everyone in the world being like, damn, she's tough as shit. Which, like, yeah, but, like, we've known that.
Dennis Bermudez is fighting Andre Feely.
Yeah. Like, I feel like loser of that fight versus...
Should fight Choi?
Choi is, like,
that's
about the right range I want to see him at.
Yeah.
Depending on how that fight looks. Like, if they both look great and they kill each other, maybe even less than that. But, yeah, Jessica Rose Clark, solid. A lot of top game and solid ground pressure that won that fight, I feel like. And just kind of hit, like, clipping Paige a lot on the counter. Like, throwing long combos out of, like, at the end of exchanges and just landing a bit more.
I just realized she looks nothing like that Sherdog photo, which confused the fuck out of me when I was watching her fight.
Well, that's what always fucks me up, too, is because I'm used to the way she looked when she fought in Invicta with the fucking blonde and purple hair. She looks nothing like that anymore.
She has, like, black dyed hair.
Yeah. So it always throws me off, too, because that's always who I think Jessica Rose Clark, and that's who I picture. And then I see Jessica Rose Clark, I was like, dang, she looks way more like Jessica I than I remembered. But, yeah, she had a good performance, and good for her, man. I'm glad to see her get the win after her fucking cat was killed, and her fucking place was robbed. It's a horrible, horrible story. Speaking of robberies... Kamaru Usman robbed himself of a good victory with that post-fight speech after beating Emil Mack.
Yeah, he actually shouldn't have mentioned the whole 30% thing.
Well,
what he meant was that he was in poor health.
And I heard that.
It was totally misconstrued by everyone, just the way he announced it.
I mean, if you know fighters, you know that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, he clearly wasn't saying, I'm holding back and only showing 30%. He's clearly saying, I was at 30% in that fight, meaning he was injured. But, like, a bunch of goddamn casuals got real mad.
Like, oh, he was holding back? What does that mean?
It's like part of me makes me think it's the Conor McGregorification of this shit. Or you could also blame Brock Lesnar, probably more realistically, for all the goddamn pro wrestling fans who love to believe all the fucking pre-fight and post-fight talk, which is mostly bullshit. Like, I bought into Biz. I still do it. I buy into it. I bought into Bisping not having a broken-ass rib going into the GSP fight, despite hearing the ice on his ribs before the fight. So, I don't know, man. Like,
how tough was Emil Mack, though? Wow.
Tough as shit.
A tough motherfucker.
For sure tough. For sure.
I did think it was
not on the same grappling level.
I definitely think it was disingenuous if it was going to be like, oh, this guy's a so-called Viking. But I guess Mac had talked a lot of shit before the fight, so that's just him.
He talked a lot of shit.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Emil Mac, tough guy for being unranked. I think he'll eventually get to ranked, possibly, probably at least 15 if he can string off some wins.
If he can work on his grappling game, his bottom game leaves shit to be desired.
Yeah.
But I mean, his counter wrestling wasn't terrible in the fight. Usman didn't look great either, though, so it's hard to kind of gauge it. But yeah, I didn't hate it as much as everybody else, but then again, I am one of those people who knows that Usman doesn't normally go out and just try to bludgeon people unless they're jiu-jitsu practitioners with bad stand-up. Like, I feel like Usman and fucking Damian Maia would be a legit fight.
I was going to say, how did we do in the picks? I feel like we all did pretty well.
Oh, yeah, I should pull up picks. I got them right here.
I think we did pretty well.
Here, let me pull this up. So you, I did
started
pretty
poor.
well. Yeah, you started
did well,
poor.
bro. Yeah.
So yeah, we had. This is not the right card, is it?
No, it is.
No, it is.
100%.
Oh right, we're starting from the top. Jesus Christ. So we both had Stevens, we both had Jesse Jess, we both had Usman.
You had.
I had Elkins
I had
over
Johnson.
which won you a sandwich and won me having to take a shot of buffalo rum with you.
I mean, you probably shouldn't have, but
I mean, I'm a trooper. I'm a trooper.
I appreciate you doing the co-shot.
Yeah, I appreciate bad booze for content. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I don't think my pick was bad in hindsight because I knew Michael Johnson was so dangerous on the feet.
It was a coin flip. The only thing I really leaned Elkins on was Elkins #1 gets better over time, and
this
Johnson gets
motherfucker
worse.
can take the damage.
Yeah,
Obviously, especially at that first round. Holy fuck.
Or with his
a lot of those shots he took would have knocked a lot of people out.
He can also take the damage in his awful physical appearance after getting that tattoo. So
his eyebrows look like they've been cut open so many times. They're kind of like molding upwards into his forehead.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little Vanderlei.
No, he has like no eyebrows.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little bit of a Vanderlei.
They like
look.
seep into his forehead.
Oh, also Dana White look also.
He has no eyebrows.
Dana's I don't know.
I saw a terrible fucked up joke. Someone like, is he like on chemo?
I was just about to say, I'm gonna feel real bad about this when we find out Dana has hella cancer. But Jesus, dude, get some eyebrows. Even fucking Don Barris has more eyebrows than. There's a reference for you. Everybody go watch the Dig Dong show. Anyway, yeah. So Darren Elkins got that solid fucking win. Submission in the second.
This fight, we all expected to go exactly how it is.
Kind of. I expected James Krause to look a little bit sharper on the feet, and I expected Alex White to look a little bit better on the ground. But
that is true. It was pretty underwhelming on the ground.
Yeah. He got. Once James Krause figured out, he can.
But you were spot on when you said,
down.
"Yeah, James Krause likes to lightly spar his opponents."
Actually, that wasn't me. Well, it was me repeating. I believe it's heavy hands. It's either heavy hands or vivisection. I want to say Zane Simon and vivisection said that. But yeah, man, 100%. I mean, you watch him fight. That's what he does, and that's exactly what happened in this fight. Looked like a sparring session, basically. With James Krause occasionally getting almost bludgeoned and then getting a weird scrambly takedown, or trying to hit a flying armbar and getting a takedown somehow. So.
Then there was this fight. You were all. I mean, to be fair, this guy had a lot of good hype around him.
Frivola looked good before this fight. However,
got caught.
Holy shit, Marco Polo Reyes is such a bad man in the pocket.
Yeah.
He's a bad motherfucker in the pocket, dude. He throws so sharp and
shouts out
so
to
clean.
Alliance and Coach Eric Delfino, having 2 winners that night last week, in Jeremy Stevens and Marco Polo Reyes.
Yeah, those are 2 big tough matchup wins too. Like, because Marco Polo Reyes, like, that makes you. The fact that he did that to Matt Frivola, and then you think about...
He's got some power. Some legit power.
Well, and you think about Dong Young Kim fight. Like, Dong Young Kim must have the craziest chin. Because that dude got hit with motherfucking everything.
A lot of 2s, man. Like,
yeah. Just got killed. And, like, Frivola, like, got bombed on.
Dude, that was a bad knockout. Like, he was just, like... fish.
Super slumped
Fish out of fucking water.
It was real rough.
I felt bad for like his family or friends that like panned him in the crowd.
Yeah, Max.
Like, yeah, they're like, it was like steamroller. They all had the shirts, and then it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's why that shit's rough. Man, well, we'll keep moving on. Irene Aldana
looking like a boxer.
Dude, Irene Aldana for the first time looked like she did in Invicta back in the day. This is so I've been. If you follow the show, I've been picking Irene Aldana for a while now because that's normally how she looks. However, she does still make terrible fucking decisions mid-fight, where she'll get into scrambles she doesn't need to get into because she's just like fucking going at a chick, and it's one of those things where she has a little bit of that like early Paige Van Zandt thing, where like they're just willing to fucking scramble for scramble's sake and like get into grappling exchanges because they have momentum, which I feel like if she got a little bit sounder on like not at staying at range while fucking people up and not being willing to like just constantly get into crazy grappling exchanges. She would light girls on fire. The problem is she has a little bit of trouble when she's moving backwards, and she can get duped into grappling exchanges where she sits on bottom for the entire second round. And you're like, holy Jesus, this is exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen. So I thought it was a really good performance from her. I mean, she's just like rattling off 1-2s on Homegirl's head for a lot of that fight, especially in the first round. But I hope we see more of that Irene Aldana going forward, and hoping as she like gets more experience in the big show.
Yeah, I think she can only really kind of go up from here, which is great.
Well, and I feel like her fight IQ can only get better. Like, it's not like Jessica I levels of crazy. It's like Paige Van Zandt levels of crazy. And Paige's fight IQ has gotten kind of better as time has gone on.
Isn't Paige, dude, still only like 24, 25? Like, if even
I believe Irene is really young,
I swear,
too.
like, they're all still so fucking young.
Yeah, I believe Irene is...
I swear Paige is probably barely 23. Oh, Irene's
29. But still,
how old is Paige? Pull up.
Paige is...
She's like, what, 23, 24? She's young as shit,
like
right?
that.
23. Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Jesus Christ, she is young as shit.
Yeah, she'll get better, though. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got a lot. She's got time on her side for sure.
For sure.
Barring any terrible injuries, you know, or
which
some sort of setback.
hopefully that stays all right, because she seems
cooking shows or whatever she wants to do. I don't know.
Dancing with the fucking
stars. That's funny. My little cousin on my mom's side, she's like 13.
Mm-hmm.
This was like I think a year and a half ago. I remember she was talking about Dance with Stars. She's like, "How do you know Paige Van Zandt?" Like, because I watch MMA. And she's like, "Oh, is that where they fight?" I was like, explaining it like to a real cousin.
That's funny. That's legit. All right, so we got the next fight was Kyung Ho Kong against Guido Canetti, and this fight went exactly how I said it was going to go, except for I think I had Kong via TKO, not triangle, but yeah, crazy exchange. Canetti gets a little wobbly and confused and gassing a little bit, and Kyung Ho Kong wins all the crazy transitional scrambles. Like, if you watch tape on this one, pretty much, like, Guido Canetti, while looking good, that, like, Kyung Ho Kong's scrambles are really good, and Canetti tended to go for, like, weird, again, wrestling for wrestling's sake kind of thing. All right.
Cool. This next fight was a jiu-jitsu match between Jessica I and Kalindra Faria.
That's right. Nobody wants to see people fight, punch people in the face. Y'all want to see the wrestling.
I thought it was fun to watch.
I loved it. But, like, also, Jessica I, what the fuck promo? Unless you're cutting, like, my favorite
I had
promo
turned off
ever.
I turned off Fight Pass right after. I just wanted to hear, like, the announcement. I was like, oh, well, because I thought I won. Like, that's how I scored it. And once I heard Jessica I turned off my Xbox because I switched over to the end of that crazy fucking Vikings game. But what did she say? Did she cut, like, a terrible what did she say, if you remember?
So...
Because I didn't hear it.
Anyway, I just showed Chris that clip of Jessica I's post-fight speech. I think what she was trying to say is that everyone was shitting on her for not being able to wrestle. So she came out and showed she can wrestle. However, that's, again, very Kamaru Usman-esque. Not at all how it comes across on the fucking broadcast. Sounds like you're saying people hate striking and love wrestling.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Definitely rough, so... Yeah, that one was... that fight was Jessica I doing Jessica I things, but getting a decision... I mean, looked better than normal, but still terrible decision-making in parts of that fight. J.J. Aldrich came out and 1-2'd Danielle Taylor to death.
She did.
Man, I believe this is one of the ones I got wrong. I really thought...
I got it wrong. You got it right.
Did I? Oh, I switched the day of. That's right. Because...
me and you were both kind of sold on Taylor's power punches.
I was, and then while I was sitting in the thread before this fight on the MMA community, a bunch of people had mentioned, like, yeah, Taylor doesn't put out a lot of volume. It's like, That's true, and it's been less and
true, yeah.
it's been less and less as of late, and she's getting up there in her career. So, yeah, I ended up swapping to JJ, and JJ rattled off a bunch of 1-2s and kind of just backed Daniel Taylor up and Russell fucked her for a lot of that fight. So, big win for her. And then Mads Burnell got the win over Mike Santiago. We both fucked this one up.
Yeah, no love for the Danish guy.
Nah, Mads Burnell just out-scrambled Santiago for a lot of this fight. So, good win for him. And that was a fun card, man. So, we will go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll get into our picks for the main and co-main of Bellator 192, as well as the UFC 220 picks. But you guys can go ahead and hear this sweet clip of Nate from Care Don't Care talking about how it's the classic, dare he say it, style matchup. You'll see what I mean in a second.
Now we come to the headlining, the championship heavyweight champion fight, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou.
This is, I don't care. This is a terrible.
So we care.
Fight. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. This is a good fight.
Who? Huh? I've never heard of these. These guys have foreign names. I don't know. No, we care about this. It's the fight. It's a classic. Dare I say, blue collar versus explosive? Huh? Do I say it?
It's the classic striker versus an even tougher striker.
Let's see. How about the fireman versus the guy that the WME Endeavor is putting money behind?
Alright, we are back, and we are here to break down the Bellator 192 Jackson versus Sonnen card. And by break it down, I mean we're only talking about the main and the co-main, because I have not done nearly the tape study enough to actually pick anybody beyond that. Although
yeah,
I will give
I recognize a couple of their names, but it's...
Yeah, like I'm leaning Aaron Pico, Georgie Karakhanyan, and Michael Chandler. And, yeah, like...
It reminds me, Dom Cruz put an old Throwback Thursday photo of him with...
Michael?
Jeremy Stevens and Michael Chandler at a club.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done tape study for, like, the bottom half of this card, which is humongous. Royce Gracie's kids fighting on it. That's a thing.
Yep.
Connery
Which, at this point, I've lost track how many Gracies there are and how many K Gracies there are.
There's a billion.
Yeah.
There's like at least
isn't there also
300 in San Diego.
Isn't there also Kron, and there's probably a Kyle.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely Kron.
Definitely not a Kyle.
Yeah, there's no Kyles. Yeah.
Unless they're raised in California. Like Henry Gracie, right? Wasn't he the American one? The American sounding one? Yeah, it's him because I remember he's Brian Traeger's coach and he sounds like he's from LA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the American born, excuse me, is what I should say. American raised. Whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah. Anyway. So we are not going to break down that card, but we will break down Douglas Lima versus Roy MacDonald, as well as the co-main event, Rampage Jackson versus Chael Sonnen. I refuse to acknowledge that Rampage Jackson versus Chael Sonnen is the fucking main event. I'm not going to go full Ariel Helwani and start whining about it like a big old baby, but yeah.
So who do you got in the co-main? Rampage versus Chael.
So it's obviously Rampage weighs like a good 40 pounds heavier than him.
He's like 30 pounds more, I think.
Rampage looks like he's in shape for like in the most shape that he's been in for the last like while.
Yeah.
Also, I have no faith in Chael. But
if he can get rocked by a 2017 Candy-Lay, the Axe Goblin.
Yeah, Candy-Lay.
The Axe Goblin, then I don't know what Rampage is going to do him.
So here's the only thing that worries me. This fight is in Bellator, not in the UFC. Which means there is no USADA.
Oh, that's right.
However, isn't this fight in California?
Yep, Inglewood.
So I believe the California State Athletic Commission actually does employ USADA to do some out-of-competition testing.
Ooh, so who's getting popped on this card?
Hopefully no one. Maybe Chael post-fight. However, I think Chael knows that, and I think Chael... Like, I don't know if steroids would help Chael in this fight, even. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is one of those fights where either he could take Rampage down or he can't. And if he can't take Rampage down, this goes real bad. But if he can take Rampage down, this goes real good.
When you mean take Rampage down, you mean hump him, as Rampage would say.
Yeah. No, he gonna hump old boy. And Rampage is gonna be real mad about it. And he's gonna punch Chael Sonnen in the head a lot. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Rampage looking annoyed against the cage while Chael doesn't do anything. And just kind of holds him. I feel like there's going to be a lot of...
I feel like this is going to be the whole fight.
Yeah, well, I don't think this fight goes that long. Because I don't think Chael lasts... Like, unless Chael is juiced to the gills again, I don't think he lasts more than, like, 2 to 3 rounds. And I think Rampage didn't look terrible in the fight against... God, who was it? The Asian dude,
Oh, the big Japanese guy or Korean guy?
Yeah, they just held him against the cage for a fucking long-ass time. Former UFC fighter. Like, he just looks annoyed, but he doesn't actually gas from that. Because he's not working at all, and I don't know that he's going to work a lot in this fight. It's because Chael's so much fucking smaller, man. Chael's a goddamn lightweight, and Rampage is...
heavyweight, yeah.
Maybe Chael's a middleweight, sorry.
Or middleweight,
and,
he's barely
Rampage is maybe a light heavyweight at this point in time. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go, have you given your pick?
No, I didn't even think about it. I'm just going to go to Rampage because he's like, he's weighed in as an actual heavyweight for once. He's 250 pounds.
Yeah, 57, I think.
He's definitely a heavyweight for once. It looks like a heavyweight. A smaller heavyweight, but he's still a heavyweight. Yeah, I'm going Rampage. I don't even have an analysis for this, to be honest. I think it's probably just going to TKO Chael.
It's too big, right?
Yeah, that's...
It's kind of my thoughts on it.
It's just a weird fight.
Alright, so the real main event, the People's main event, the goddamn, possibly, I would argue, this could be for
one of
number
the best,
one.
just one of the best overall welterweight fights in MMA this year.
Oh, not only this year, but maybe ever. And also, this is an easy contender for at least top 3 welterweight of all, like, currently
overall
active.
Ranking, yeah.
Like, oh man, this is a fun fucking matchup. Douglas Lima, or I should say Roy MacDonald, will start there. Of course, coming off. Whoa, I clicked the wrong tab.
Coming and Seeing.
Yeah, he's talking about he's evidently really into the movie Come and See that fucking, I believe it was Care Don't Care recommended about the Nazis. Fucking of course, because of course.
By the way, shouts out to the sponsor by Chegg, who I use to rent textbooks.
Oh yeah, Chegg is actually legit.
Yeah, and they send me Red Bull and other shit.
Yeah. Also, so you guys know that this is on topic, Chegg is on the Sherdog picture for Rory.
Yeah, so you're like, why the fuck are you talking about Chegg?
Right,
That's
like
why.
Everyone's expecting you to talk about Bitcoin, not Chegg, obviously, or whatever fucking Dogecoin ghetto version Rory is getting paid.
That's funny because coincidentally, Dogecoin is one of the liveries I have on a car in Forza Horizon 3, and it is fucking awesome looking.
That's funny. Also, Doge is a fantastic atomizer if you're into vaping. So shouts out to the Doge, or it was. I don't know.
And shouts out to viewer dogglers to Shiba Inus, which are Doge dogs. The Shiba Inu is the Doge dog.
Sure.
Like that's like the type of dog.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Shouts out to dogs in general. They're cool. Shouts out to Seamus, who's on my wall, looking real concerned.
That is true.
It sounds like I have a dog on the wall. It's a picture of the dog on the wall. The dog isn't there.
And he's wearing a sweater that also looks like he's wearing a tie.
To be fair, it's a ski vest.
Oh,
To be fair to him. but his chest meat gets in the way. He's a big boy. Anyway, speaking of big boys, Rory McDonald's taking on Douglas Lima. Terrible segue. I regret that immediately.
Wow, that's crazy looking at. He was in 2 losses in a row. He had lost to Robbie Lawler and then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Both by crazy long fights. I mean, he almost.
Oh yeah, that was a 5-rounder against Wonderboy. Wow.
Yeah, in which he didn't come out of it beat the fuck up that bad.
It was just a point fight.
It was he tried 18 Imanari rolls and none of them worked out and took an L.
I gotta watch that fight again.
I don't know that you do.
I mean, probably not. Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna be relevant for this one. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I know.
Where he is taking on. Oh my God! Why is my computer being such a goddamn garbage person about
There's
this?
Douglas Lima.
So Douglas Lima, of course, is coming off the win over Lorenz Larkin. Before that, he had the win over Andrei Korshkov and Paul Daly. And before that, he had the loss via decision to Andrei Korshkov. Man, fucking dominant. I mean, wins over even Ben Saunders. He's been killing shit in Bellator, and everybody sleeps on him. The only person he's lost to is Koreshkov, and Koreshkov has been a motherfucking monster in that division. Damn near killed Benson Henderson when Benson Henderson tried to pretend like he was a 170
Didn't Liam also
pounder.
lose to Eddie Alvarez back in the day? Didn't he fight?
Yeah, maybe in Bodog or something.
Oh, it was Ben Askren.
Well, yeah, Ben Askren, but he might have lost to Eddie. He lost.
Matt Brown.
Oh, it was Matt Brown, and that was
wow.
in 2007.
Oh wow.
And then of course the Askren lost, but everybody loses to Askren because he's fucking Askren. Also, 2012 Ben Askren in Bellator was good luck, bro. Literally the only person who in Bellator that Lima has lost to is Koreshkov, who's the only guy that's beat both Koreshkov and Ben Askren, I believe, is Koreshkov and
Lima.
Lima is Ben Askren, because Ben Askren's a motherfucking monster, but yeah, crazy record in a fun matchup, man. I think this is going to be far more competitive than people think. This is 100% my fight of the weekend. If I had to pick one fight to watch, I'd watch this over every other fight, which is kind of crazy, but it's a great matchup. Who you leaning?
This is a tough one, actually.
It's super tough. They're both super competitive. Neither way would surprise me at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rory, only because in the fight that I saw Douglas against Lorenz Larkin, he was really susceptible to getting hit by a lot of high volume in the center of the octagon. Or excuse me, not the octagon, the circle.
The ring.
The ring.
The cage.
And Rory excels at cutting off angles and putting on volume in the center of the cage or ring. And I know Douglas, I assume, is a black belt and is good off his back. But I know Rory's wrestling is exceptional as far as picking people back up and engaging in a clinch. And I can see Douglas Lee win this fight. I really can, especially if he kind of point fights, sits back and just dictates his own style.
Right.
And negates the takedown attempts from Rory, because I think there will be takedown attempts. But I like Rory's overall volume, and I think striking a little bit more is going to be a little more polished. I really do want to pick Lima, though, don't get me wrong. It's kind of 50-50 for me, but I don't want to flip a coin because I hate that shit.
Yeah, it doesn't work out for you.
So yeah, I'm just going to go with Rory based on the fact that Lorenz Larkin made it pretty close with Lima, and Lorenz Larkin is a talented striker, and the fact that Rory made Paul Daly look like an amateur, and Paul Daly made Lorenz Larkin look like an amateur. So MMA math is weird.
Yep.
So fuck
Always.
it. I'm just throwing up. Why not Rory? I don't know. I know he's gonna be the most popular pick. I'm assuming Lima's the underdog.
I believe so. I believe Rory's pretty solid. I don't have it pulled up, but I believe Rory is a pretty solid favorite. I'm leaning Douglas Lima. I think everybody sleeps on Douglas Lima, just like everybody sleeps on Bellator. And Rory is a tough out. I think a lot of this fight comes down to whether or not Rory tries to grapple and whether or not Rory can get the takedown.
Yeah.
So Rory's real big for that weight class, and people kind of sleep on that a bit.
That is true.
But so is Lima.
Oh, he was the guy we're thinking of. Remember I was saying who's like the biggest welterweight in MMA?
Rory's
like
up
Darren
there.
Till. It was Rory was the other guy.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. But man, it's real interesting. Let's see. Wow, Rory's minus 220 favorite.
Wow.
On 5 dimes. Lima plus 200, and then Rampage Jackson is a minus 185 favorite.
Are those real odds for Pico? Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's happening with Pico.
That? Oh
That's
my
crazy.
God,
like,
I'd almost bet against him,
dude,
because of those.
Yeah, Shane Crutchison's like he's not.
Put $10 on that.
Yeah,
You getting some good money.
Shane Crutchin is way better than he's getting in the odds, but Pico did look real good in his last fight.
Oh yeah.
Despite getting clipped, that was a legit knockout. So, anyway, yeah, I'm leaning Lima. I just think Lima is too fucking tough, and also Lima hits hard as shit. Zane, I believe it was no, sorry, not Zane. I want to say it was Eddie Mercado. It was one of the dudes on the MMA Vivisection for Bellator 192, which we'll have a link for in the description, which was fantastic. Someone on there had mentioned that Lima is real good at clipping people with a long, hard left, and Rory is real clippable with shit like that. Yeah, I think Lima's going to put out too much volume and throw way too fucking hard. As long as he can stop the takedown, or at least minimize.
Do you see this going distance? What is it, 5 rounds or do?
I like Lima by
They
TKO.
do 3 in Bellator, right? They don't do 5.
No, they'll
right?
do 5,
They'll
especially
do
for
5.
title. They'll do 5.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Actually, both this and the Rampage Shell fight is 5. But yeah.
So do you like Lima by TKO?
Yeah, I'm going Lima TKO, probably 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there.
I would say Rory by decision. He's gonna not really try to do anything too crazy.
I could see that. I mean, I could see this fight really going either way. It's a really close matchup, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. Cool, man. Well, that is all I wanted to talk about on that card. I'm not going to lie. Because I, again, have not done nearly enough tape study. However, we do have our picks for the UFC 220 card, which will be a motherfucking... I think this card's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm kind of hyped
Yeah, I
about
hope
it.
so. Just kidding. I don't hope so, but yeah, I think it might.
I think it'll be
We'll
cool. While there's not a lot of names on the card, I think there's a lot of fun matchups, which a lot of times end up being some of the best cards. Like, that's why some of the Fight Pass cards were fucking awesome. It's because there's, well, number one, the
I was gonna say
pacing.
the first 5 fights are great, minus John Vellante, but
You mean the top 5, not the first 5.
I mean, yeah, top 5. Excuse the bottom 5. Last 5.
top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
Yeah, the last 5 are... there's some hits and misses. Anyway, we'll start off at the bottom. Gleison Tebow is taking on Islam Makhachev.
You said Tebow just got done being off roids, right?
Not roids, EPO. He got popped for EPO.
Oh, estrogen.
No, EPO is from what I understand, EPO is a stamina enhancer. It's the shit that Lance Armstrong is big on.
Oh Jesus, so doping basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's like a cardio enhancement kind of thing, amongst other things. And obviously, if you actually want legit information about this, 100% go look up whatever Ian Kidd is, IAINKIDD has written about this, because his shit is going to be way more informed than mine. But, yeah, from what I understand, he's on EPO, and that's what he got flagged for. So he's been out 2 years. He's coming off the win over Abel Trujillo, which was hella sketchy to begin with, because this was a rear naked choke that basically Abel Trujillo wasn't really caught in. Like, he was in the middle of transitioning out of it, and the ref stopped it. It's a shitty stoppage. And then later we find out Gleison Tebow was juiced to the gills, or at least EPO'd to the gills. And he is taking on Islam Makhachev, who I am high as fuck on after hearing that Khabib brought him into AKA as a training partner.
Which is why I'm saying I am picking him 100%.
Yeah.
I like Islam Makhachev. I like his grappling background. He's from fucking Dagestan, so that's.
He's from Dagestan training with Khabib.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah. No, I'm on board as well.
When it's Habib time, it's his fellow Dagestani's time, too.
That's right.
Usually.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off the wins over Nick Lentz.
Especially if your name is Zabit Magomed Sharipov.
For sure.
Holy fuck.
But yeah, Islam is coming off the wins over Nick Lentz and Chris Wade. Just dominant grappler. I feel like maybe this is just me being optimistic because I have Islam Makhachev in the fantasy league for Magwar, but I feel like if one thing was to go from Gleason Tebow's game that's the most important to his game, it's his cardio, which is what he was taking EPO for, which also he's had 2 years off of ring rust, which is going to hurt
heavily.
And Islam Makhachev will wrestle fuck you badly for 3 rounds happily. No problem, he will do that all day. So I'm leaning him. Also, I feel like if he stays on the outside and throws a bunch of kicks, that'll help. But I'm definitely leaning that way. Up next, we got Matt Bessette fighting Enrique Barzola. Matt Bessette, of course, off of Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, first of many. And he's coming off the no contest against Kurt Holobaugh because Kurt Holobaugh popped for something by USADA. Actually by NSAC, which is even crazier. No, I don't know if that's true. I believe he got popped by USADA and then NSAC is now reviewing it, is how that works. And of course, Matt Bessette coming off that win, and then had some wins in CES MMA before that. A bunch of TKOs and subs, it looks like. Enrique Barzola, El Fuerte, is coming off the win over...
Oh, I remember this dude. He's from Peru.
Yeah, he just beat Mowgli at UFC 211, which was a ways back, actually, nowadays.
Oh, it's almost like a year ago. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember buying...
Because Mowgli just looked fucking amazing against Hick Diaz.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jason Knight.
Yeah, and this was a tough fight with Mowgli, too. That was a scrappy back-and-forth fight. Barzola just looked really... He was able to get a shitload of takedowns in wild exchanges and just kind of out-transition and out-gas Mowgli in that fight. Really good gas tank, really tough in transitions. Not the best on the feet, whereas Matt Bessette will come in and wing shit with you. Matt Bessette, despite getting TKO'd by Kurt Holobaugh, I believe it was a standing TKO too. The ref stepped in. Still a fucking... Man, I might have fucked that up. Actually, I think he got clipped and dropped. I think I'm thinking of the Abdul fight later or something. No, it wasn't that one. Maybe it was the Arce fight. I think it was the Arce fight where he got a standing TKO.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to go with Barzola. I like this guy a lot. Yeah. I know Bessette was solid on Tuesday night. Dana White's contender.
Yep.
I don't know. I just like the scrappiness of Barzola. That's really all I have to say. I mean,
yeah.
I just from what I remember him fighting, I just remember he looked solid all around. Good striking exchanges. Didn't really see if he had any takedown defense because Mowgli's a boxer.
Yeah, and he was mostly going for the takedowns as opposed to...
I know it's unfair technically because I haven't really... I mean, I've seen Bessette fight, but I just can't recall.
I mean, it was mostly just wild fucking exchanges where eventually Bessette got clipped and
it's like a brawling style.
It was wild as shit, yeah. No one went for a takedown the whole fight. They both just winged. You remember Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series? It's just dudes winging overhands.
Yeah, okay, so now I'm more confident that Barzola's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going the same way. I like Barzola as well. Mostly because I think... I haven't seen nearly enough of the takedown defense of Bessette to be confident at all. If he went for a takedown or if he secured a takedown in his fight in the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, I definitely would have been more confident in him. I think he definitely has a better striking. I think he hits hard as fuck and he's a swarmer. But, man, yeah, I gotta go Barzola just off of... Dude is scrappy, got lit the fuck up in the face in the first fight, but still kept hitting takedowns and wild exchanges, and I feel like that can win you a fight against this dude. So we will keep on moving on. Up next we got Oh God! I just heard how this was pronounced, and I still do it wrong.
Can I try?
believe it's Ige. No, that's wrong.
Ige, that sounds like a fun name.
Ige, maybe.
Ige?
It might be Ige or Ige.
It's probably Ige or Ige. Who knows? Just call him Dan Dynamite. So Dan Dynamite is fighting Julio
Dan Dynamite. I'm into that.
fighting Julio Arce.
He's out of Extreme Couture. You're goddamn right to call him Dan Dynamite.
Dan Dynamite.
Yeah,
Dan Dynamite is fighting Julio Arce.
Yeah, he's coming off a win over Luis S. Gomez. That seems like an unfair matchup. But, Luis is always down.
No, what happened is he made Dan Dynamite smoke a fuckload of weed. So,
well, was Dan White Tuesday Night Contender Series? So Snoop was in the premises. So this checks out.
Probably my boy Dan Dynamite.
Dan
sticky, icky. Good night, Irene. Every 5 seconds.
Fucking good night, Irene.
Julio Arce, right?
So we should mention Dan Dynamite is coming off the win over Luis Gomez, not the dude from Bisbing's podcast.
Not the comedian.
Yeah. And which he won via sub in the 3rd round after a scrappy fucking fight. Yeah, that shit was scrappy as shit. And dude has a crazy gas tank and is real good in scrambles and doesn't have terrible hands. Julio Arce, however, looked fucking fantastic in his fight against Peter
Petties?
Sure, yeah. We'll go with Petties. On Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, you'll get to hear me say that phrase a lot in this show. There's a lot of fucking Contender Series dudes.
That's actually interesting. I see some of his fights. He fought Brian Kelleher 2 fights in a row. Then he fought Francisco Isada. Then he fought Frank Buenafuente 2 fights in a row. So either some bad blood or close fights.
Yeah, well, and that's...
but then the fight against looks like Buenafuente was in 2 different promotions, too.
Well, yeah, and that's Ring of Combat as well, which is the one that, of course, Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman, and a bunch of dudes came up in. Of course, Rivera, all those dudes.
Basically East Coast guys.
Yeah, it's like the
New York,
East Coast.
New Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey, I believe, technically, since New York wasn't legal. But
that's a good point. Very good point.
But yeah, so it really scrappy, really sharp boxing. Good.
Tiger Schulman, okay.
Yeah, out of Tiger Schulman.
So he's there with Rivera and Hall.
Yeah. That's of course out of the East Coast. You figure, and having fought a bunch of dudes around there. So, which way you leaning on this one? I feel like this is gonna be a fun fucking fight, man.
I think I'm gonna go Julio Arce because I remember him fighting. I know the other guy fight on Dana White's too, but I remember this guy more.
Yeah.
And I hate having to use as logic instead of tape study, but there's just a lack of tape study on a lot of fights here.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, there's like one fight. Unless you want to go digging through YouTube videos, there's like one fight on Fight Pass for a lot of these guys, for sure. And even then, it's like some of that footage is not helpful because you're like, I don't know anything about this dude he's fighting, so I don't know how this compares to anything, So yeah, I'm gonna go EJ or
Dan Dynamite.
Dan Dynamite.
I would just type in.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, let me just type in Dynamite right now, so I don't have to.
Like, who the fuck is EJ?
Yeah, God damn it! I'm gonna butcher his name forever. Actually, wait, is Anik on the call this weekend? I think he is.
He is, because I saw on
It's
Instagram.
Rogan, Anik, and DC, or Dom, right?
Yeah, DC. Did Dom Cruz, DC?
Yeah. Technically, yeah.
John Anik's on the card because I saw on Instagram he had a paper and he's like, enhancing my Boston accent for next week or something like that. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, so I will officially no longer butcher Dan Dynamite's name after this weekend.
Watch us all be wrong. Dan Ige or something.
I'm sure it's gonna be weird, but no.
Dan Iggy.
John Anik is my canary in the coal mine for pronouncing stuff. Like, I just
like it's Miocic and not Miocic.
Yeah, which I'm gonna butcher 100% forever.
As long as you don't.
It's
as long as you're not like Luke Thompson, like Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, no, Nunes is the one that bothers me the most.
Well,
actually, that's not true.
They did it on purpose.
Holmes is the worst.
Oh, God.
If you say Holmes to me, I swear to God.
Wow, that is...
I'm like, oh, you mean Larry Holmes?
No, the one that made me mad was Cynthia Calvillo. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like...
Actually, that one might be legit, though.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if I'm ignorant as fuck. I'm going Calvillo. Don't care.
That's how it's spelled, to be fair.
Eugene S. Robinson, don't care. Immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a don't care for sure. All right, we will keep on.
It's like people who spell their name Smith, but they call it Smythe. Like, fuck off. There's no Y in there.
Yeah, how British do you have to be? All right, so up next we got Dustin Ortiz versus Alexandre Pantoja.
Oh, yeah. I heard Pantoja was a guy who won on Tough 24, and he looked like he was coming in his pants when he won. He was like, oh!
He's also wild as shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Ortiz is coming off that crazy 15-second knockout over Hector Sandoval, where they basically walked towards each other.
Oh, yeah.
They both threw a giant overhand, and I believe it was they both threw. I believe Dustin Ortiz caught him with a 4-punch combo in a row, and half of that was while he was on his way down. I think he hit him with a right, left, right. And the last right he hit him with was he was already 45 degrees to the floor.
I'll say this right now. I'm gonna go Dustin Ortiz because I always like the saying you're only as good as your last fight. And the last fight I saw Pantoja, very sloppy on the feet. Fantastic grappling. Don't get me wrong.
Neil Sear.
Very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practice. Very good. If this goes to the ground, he could win.
Also, Novo Yao, of course.
Yeah. He's actually I think he's Aldo's BJJ coach, if I actually recall correctly. He literally teaches Aldo BJJ.
I believe so.
So yeah, if it goes to the ground, sure, but I don't know, man. His stand-up is so suspect. He gets hit so easily. I remember from his fights, especially Tough.
And Dustin Ortiz is also a very high-level grappler. He's a good wrestler. He's a
wrestler, I believe,
with really good jiu-jitsu.
That's why I'm going with him. Don't get me wrong. If he gets submitted by Pantoja, I'm like, okay, well, but that'd just be Ortiz getting caught, in my opinion, and then just like, oh, fuck, not getting a transition or positioning himself in the right way. But I like Ortiz. I think it's going to be pretty bad. I don't know if he's going to murder Pantoja, but I don't think it's going to be really something Pantoja's going to feel comfortable with.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going the same way. I think Pantoja, while he definitely has ways to win in this fight, Dustin Ortiz coming off that big knockout win and not looking terrible in that long decision he had before that, I'm leaning him. I think Pantoja, I think, is a little wild and probably will get taken down a decent amount in this fight, but I don't know how those exchanges will go. I think Dustin Ortiz is heavy enough on top and solid enough in his defensive jiu-jitsu game that he'll be able to hang, but could be interesting though. So I think we'll definitely see some takedowns in this fight, or maybe Dustin Ortiz just fucking lights him on fire on the feet. I'm not sure, or vice versa. I think it'll be a fun. It's one of these fun style matchups that does almost nothing for the division, for the top 15.
I mean, it's got to fly with the division.
I don't know. It'll be interesting, but
this next fight, however, is a rematch that should be. I don't know if you'd call it explosive. The last one, those guys, they kind of just were.
I mean, they were bombing on each other in the face. They just both had terrible defense, and then eventually
that stoppage by the referee.
That stoppage by Herb was bad.
Did they give the win to Al Hassan?
Oh yes. So.
Jesus Christ.
No, sorry. Yeah. They give to Al Hassan. So you originally had Abdul Al Hassan. I had Sabah Hamasi.
You got the.
Yeah, I got our picks right over here. I actually changed to Sabah Hamasi the morning of, which really worked out well for me. But it was they both fucked each other up. They both dropped each other at a certain point. It was a scrappy fight for sure. Both were starting to get real tired towards the end of it.
Yeah, I'll just say I think I'm gonna go Al Hassan again.
I think I'm gonna go fucking Sabah Hamasi again.
Fucking dude.
Oh yeah, dog.
Run it back. Let's see what happens.
Perfect. We'll run it back. That's great.
I don't know.
That's hilarious. All right, cool. Well, we'll go ahead and do that.
This next fight, Kyle Bochniak versus Brendan Davis. Is Bochniak the guy who got submitted in 30 seconds? I think you were watching this earlier when I got here.
I believe.
Or I don't know if he got submitted, but something happened to him pretty fast.
No, that was somebody else. He came off the long, hard-fought victory against Jeremy Kennedy, in which Jeremy Kennedy out-wrestled him for the first round and a quarter, and then eventually gassed, and Kyle Bochniak came on pretty hard and was able to start lighting him up. And then he's facing Brandon Davis, Killer B, out of Alan Belcher's MMA club, evidently. And he is coming off the win over Austin Arnett in Dana White Tuesday.
Nice little win streak he's got going for himself, for sure.
For sure. Not a ton of big name orgs he was with. Summit Fighting, what was that? Square Ring Promotions, and Blood and Sand 22. That's a good one. So, like, pretty small shows that he's been on, but he is at Alan Belcher's gym, which, I mean, you gotta at least give him some credit for sure. He's coming off a decision win in 2017 in August. It was a TKO in June, and another win in April. Jesus Christ. It's not a bad turnaround. Kyle Bochniak, of course, coming off that loss to Jeremy Kennedy. And before that, had the win over Enrique Barzola and the loss to Charles Rosa. Which way are you leaning in this one?
Yeah, I don't think I recall seeing Davis fight, and I hate picking this way because I'm usually wrong all the time.
You can always go back to the old faithful.
So guess what then? I'm actually going to go opposite, and I'm going to pick Brandon Davis.
There you
I don't
go.
give a fuck that I haven't really seen this guy fight. Why not? Let's just go. I'm just going to shot in the dark on this one.
I watched tape on this, but I don't remember what I watched.
Well, then do you want to flip a coin or a cap?
Oh, you know what? To make it fun, I'll go Bochniak.
Cool.
I feel like that's how I was leaning before this, but I am 0% confident in that fight. I have watched both these dudes fight. I watched Bochniak fight multiple times. Very little recollection of any of those fights. So that's how that one will go.
Yeah.
We are no Conor Rebus or Pat Wyman, y'all.
As Ray says on Trailer Park Boys, that's just the way she goes.
That's right. And now we are finally to our main card, although you won't know it until the co-main event.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Jesus. Like, the fucking... Dude,
This fight
last weekend's card was more stacked in the main card than this is.
It
like,
was?
they should have swapped the low third of these. They should have swapped everything below DC out for the last card, and this would have been a solid pay-per-view.
Yep.
It's really weird. But anyway, first fight, Thomas Almeida taking on Rob Font.
The taxi cab driver killer.
That's right. Coming off the loss to Jimmy Rivera, went over Al Morales, is taking on Rob Font, who has that loss to Pedro Munoz via sub in the first, back in October, and then he had the win
Pedro
over...
Munoz is probably the most impressive guillotine guy. Has been outside of Uriah Faber, who pretty much kind of perfected
Uriah
that.
Faber is the king, and then he's up there. It's like him, yeah, and then if you want to go jiu-jitsu, it's probably Marcelo Garcia.
I'll say this now. I am going Rob Font. I believe he's the hometown guy. I think he's from Boston or New England.
He is.
If I recall correctly. Yep. I really like his style. I know Almeida's a good boxer. He's a good striker. Don't like his chin, though, remember. He got clipped a lot by Rivera. Got knocked out, I think, twice.
At least.
And I think Rob Font can grapple, if I remember, when he wants to.
Yeah, Rob Font's got good, solid wrestling.
I just think this is such a terrible matchup for Thomas Almeida right now. Maybe not on the feet. If it stays there, Almeida could definitely kind of just piece... I don't want to say piece him up, though, because Font's so tough, too. And I just haven't seen any grappling from Almeida. I literally have no fucking clue if he has any skill or if he's adept in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Or I just have no clue. All I've seen him is literally just stand, keeps his hands up real high and tight, like a traditional kind of inside boxer, and that's really about it. And
yeah, I mean, we saw, we've seen him in grappling exchanges, but generally, it doesn't go well. Like that Brad Pickett fight, he was on his back for the entire first round, if I remember right.
Yeah, he had that flying knee, and Cody Garbrandt, that was just a terrible style matchup for him, just because of his looping power.
But, I'm actually going to lean the same way. I'm going to go Rob Font. I don't know which way I'm leaning on how it'll finish. Probably decision.
Yeah.
Almeida is pretty tough, and he recovers really well, despite being pretty hurtable. He also has pretty good defense as well, relatively to how wild he throws and to how much damage he takes.
He stands, so.
So I'm leaning Rob Font off of. I think he'll win a lot of scrambles, and I think he can probably outwork Almeida. One thing that will be interesting is if Rob Font has any trouble initiating like grappling exchanges, whether it be in the clinch or on the ground, like takedowns or any of that. This could get real weird real quick. Like if Thomas Almeida in the first 2 minutes figures out Rob Font can't take him down, like this fight is completely different. But as of how I see it right now, I gotta go Rob Font. Especially coming out of Sit Yodong, you know he's gonna be putting out a big pace, and Almeida is, while he's willing to exchange, he also is mostly going to. He's not going to push a crazy pace.
Yeah.
So.
Here's a fight that
this is this is
my least stoked fight, probably in the whole card.
This is my most stoked fight in the darkest possible way. Like this is the MMA depressed us. I can't wait to see Conor Rebush and Zane Simon and
this would be the main event of a depressed us card.
Yeah, this is like this. I feel the same way about this fight that I felt when I saw Sam Alvey and Elias Theodorou were gonna fight. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good in all the worst ways. Like this is good bad fight material for sure. Yeah, this one's actually more fun.
I'll say right now, I'm going Francimar Barroso.
Really?
I just don't like John Vellante. I'm sorry. It seems like a cool guy. I think he has okay power in his hands, but I feel like anytime someone meets him with better skill or match skill, he just kind of cowers away and doesn't know how to react and have a standing guard. I don't know, man. I feel like he finds ways to lose fights. He frustrates me every time I watch this dude fight, and I just don't like watching him fight. It sounds so fucking rude of me to say that. I just don't.
Like
sorry.
A lot of people feel that way.
I mean, I'm sorry, dude. Like I know you've got power in your hands. You're a big guy, but
yeah. And I want to start by saying John Vellante is hilarious.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
And
no, like don't get me wrong. Like outside of the octagon, he's fucking hilarious. He's always with Stipe. He's with Weidman.
Well, and I heard him and Stipe play hella Call of Duty and talk shit to each other all day.
Like I'm not attacking his character as a guy.
No,
of course. Outside the octagon, he seems like
I just wanted to clarify that before we both pick against John Vellante.
Yeah, it's just. I'm sorry, dude. When you're in the octagon, I just don't want to watch you fight.
The problem I have with John Vellante is John Vellante, like Conor Rebush, I believe it was, and Zane Simon, talked about. John Vellante is just going to throw the same combo with like one or two variations at you the entire fight at the same tempo and like kind of regardless of what you're doing, where it's just the definition of a rote striker where he's just going to throw this thing, and whether or not you're going to come in and try and bomb on him or go for a takedown or whatever,
he's going to try again.
He's just going to do that one thing because that's the one thing he thinks is going to work. And
I'm sorry, who the fuck has he beaten? Like, I know he's beaten. Like,
so
I'm sorry, I'm really, for any John Vellante fans, sorry. But,
wow, you have kind of a good point. We'll go ahead and start with Cody Donovan. Is one win. Sean O'Connell, Corey Anderson, Anthony Perosh, and Saperbek Safarov. Those are basically alternating between losses with OSP, Fabio Maldonado,
losing to Maldonado,
Tom Lawler, Ilir Latifi, Shogun Hua, and Pat Cummins.
Goddamn. Wow, I don't know who his agent is, but you're on a main card of a pay-per-view, man. Good job.
Yeah, well done. Whereas we keep saying that wrong.
I just say Bahos. I fucking have no idea.
It's Bahos. I'm pretty positive it's Bahos. I think we keep fucking this up.
Boats and Hose. That's my nickname for him.
Francimar Boats and Hose. Oats and Boats and Hose. So Oats and Boats and Hose has and Nose. Oats and Boats and Hose and Nose.
Dude, you know what reminds me? One of my favorite cereals, the honey bunches of oats, dude, which is a solid. It's honey graham O's. Do you remember those? Had little fucking honey clusters in them. That shit was fire, dude. It was like fucking Cheerios and honey clusters, dude.
That's funny.
But if I showed you a picture, you'd be like, yo, that's what's up.
Anyway, Bodao is taking on Vellante. He's coming off the loss to Alexander Rakic, if I remember right.
Rakic?
Yeah, Rakic, you're right. And then I think you're right. And then went over Darren Stewart, the no contest against Darren Stewart, lost to Nikita Krylov, and then went over to Elvis Mutapcic. Man, yeah, I'm going Bahos. Zero confidence in either. I could go either way. Zero confidence either way, honestly. But it'll be fun while it lasts, I think. Right?
Yeah, and dude, I know you remember the cereal dog. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
It's fire as fuck.
Yeah, Honey Ramos. I got you. Yeah, for sure, dog. Alright, so up next, we got Calvin Kattar versus Shane Burgos. Calvin Kattar, the Boston finisher, good nickname, is coming off the win over Andre Fili back in July. The win to Chris Foster and the win over Kenny Foster.
Impressive winning streak.
Fucked up. He fought two brothers back to back in CES.
Oh man!
Shouts out to Chris and Kenny.
Well, he pissed off their family.
Yeah, evidently, and he's taking on Shane Burgos, the Hurricane, or I guess just Hurricane,
who I believe had scoliosis, which was his back.
Wow!
I think.
Oh,
I remember
yeah,
that.
I think I've heard that.
I think he talked about that. He has spine injury.
Yeah, and he's out of Tiger Schulman.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say right now, I'm actually gonna go with him because I've been hyped on this dude since I saw him fight. I remember the last time he picked, we were going back and forth because the other guy's a badass too. Got it for Castro. I was like, you know what, man? I'm going with Burgos, and you know what? I'm gonna do it again till this guy loses, really, or he faces someone who's been there, done that. I love this Burgos kid, and I think he's going places as long as he kind of climbs the ladder, I should say. Really, because I'm not gonna put him on a pedestal just yet or some shit, or they say he's the next best thing. Yeah, who knows? What is this featherweight, right? Yeah, it's a featherweight fight.
Yeah, and just because you killed Godofredo Pepe doesn't mean you like the next.
That's why I'm saying that now.
Yeah, I am actually this is definitely the biggest step up in competition for Burgos, and Calvin Kattar has a shitload more experience than he does.
That is true.
However, Calvin Kattar's experience is actually not as deep as Shane Burgos in the UFC and in the Big Show. And CFFC, I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of CFFC fighters, so I'm actually going to take Burgos as well. It'll be interesting. I think I like Burgos off of how fucking sharp and hard his counters are. Dude lights motherfuckers on fire. And I think it could be a problem in this fight. However, it'll be interesting to see how he matches up, because this is, again, by far the biggest jump up in competition he's had. So, and Sit Yodong versus Tiger Schulman is kind of cool, because they're basically in the same area. They're both Jersey, right?
I think, Jersey, New York.
Yeah. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I think Tiger Schulman's in New Jersey.
Cool, man.
Tri-state area.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, we have a lot of the same picks on this card, which I'm not really surprised by. I feel like there's a lot of picks that are you lean one way or the other.
This one, however, is one I've been going back and forth with all fucking day.
That's right. We are finally
including the main event
to the two fights that people actually are interested in this card. Shouts out to the casuals. DC is taking on Volkan No Time
Ozdemir, I believe, but fuck it, same thing.
Yeah, that's the secret.
Or hopefully it's not going to be Volkan jail time.
That's right.
Prison time, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, well, the secret is the ooze.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the secret is don't hit on his girlfriend or he'll murder you.
Yeah, that also.
Or assault his girlfriend. So
also,
the guy assaulted his girlfriend.
Yeah, maybe stay away from the girlfriend of the giant light
Swiss
heavyweight fucking Swiss fighter. It's probably, I'd go ahead and suggest that. I'd go ahead and suggest pick a different chick.
Yeah. Somebody fucked up. So we got Daniel Cormier, the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, of UFC.
Well, we can go ahead and say semi-disputed, but undisputed.
Yeah. I mean, Jones is a cheater, so. And we don't care that he passed polygraph, because so did Ted Bundy.
Also, you and I were talking about this, I believe, off mic earlier, but I'm curious to know how many fighters would just pass a polygraph regardless, because
they're used to pressure.
Well, the whole way a polygraph works is it measures differences in your pulse. And I feel like fighters have a very, very high threshold for what changes their pulse. Like, I would assume anything out of physical combat, probably they don't get much of a rise out of, you know? Like, I feel like if you're in a fist fight later, if you're, like, telling a white lie, I feel like your pulse doesn't change, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I get that it's a bigger than a white lie, but, like, also, like, John Jones is shown to be a fucking serial killer.
Like your pulse wouldn't change if you lied about like a high score on some fucking video game or some ridiculous bullshit. Like, I got first place in this circuit on Forza, and when you really got second. You know, like something that you could just.
I
shift
totally
in your
got
mind,
a chicken dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. I got 3 chicken dinners in a row. The one that you might be technically, I got 10 chicken dinners in a row. 10 games, bro.
Dog, impossible. I call shenanigans. But anyway, so DC is, of course, coming off the controversial loss to John Jones. Before that is now a no contest. And then before that, he had the win over Anthony Johnson, Anderson Silva, Alexander Gustafsson, and Anthony Johnson.
I actually went and watched that fight again. I love how the Silva fanboys were like, bro, he fucking hurt DC bad. No, he didn't. No. I watched it. No.
And also
he was not in danger.
And also,
sure, did it hurt? Of course it did. It hurt him a little bit, but no.
I like how everyone was also real mad at DC for not passing half guard when Anderson Silva basically took a defensive position where they're like, well, since I'm going to throw lockdown on in half guard, it's pretty much all we can do now. So DC just punches him in the head as much as he can and in the body. Like, I don't know what people want. And then Volkan Oezdemir, the secret of the ooze.
A very impressive fucking well, look at it. His last 2 fights have been 1 or a minute apiece.
True.
And I remember on co-main event, they said back in, I don't know how many years ago, I think it was called something called Battle of the Vikings. Is that on here? Yes,
Sure.
it is. March 9th, 2013. It was an 8-man tournament. And he averaged knocking out 6 other fighters in under a minute, apparently. So that's actually very fucking impressive.
We should try to find that.
That sounds nuts.
Great.
Because I don't care who you're fighting, you're a goddamn Viking if you could beat half your opponents in under a minute each time. Look at that. Apparently he beat that guy in 0 seconds.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and list them all off. 15 seconds, 45 seconds, and 0
they're right
seconds.
there. Those are 3 wins. Yeah. Wow.
15, 45, and 0.
He beat someone in 0 seconds. That's
a bad tournament.
Bring it on, come on.
Yeah, that's a bad tournament. Also, I think 0 seconds just means there was not an official timekeeper.
I know. Yeah,
or something.
I thought that was funny.
But yeah, man, Volkan. So Volkan's had a good outings recently. Really young to the fucking. I mean, he only appeared in 2017.
How old is this guy? Probably like 28, 29, 30?
I think he's my age. 28.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, he's only 6'1"? Oh, yeah, that's because DC's so short.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, never mind. I was like, wow, Volkan's so much taller. I'm like, wait, DC's like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, he's like 5'9".
I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, man. Originally, I was thinking Volkan, but I'm biased because he's on my fantasy team, and if he does knock out DC, I pretty much win.
You win if
I win the quarter.
Unless Ngannou stops Stipe in the first round, and then you might be fucked.
I mean, but I think I'm officially gonna go DC this fight. Yes, I know Volkan's very good in the clinch, but so is DC. DC has better grappling. He's stronger. I don't want to say he's stronger physically because I've never seen Volkan try to actually throw someone up, so I don't have no idea. In that respect, I'm not going to disrespect his strength.
Right.
He definitely has better punching power. I don't doubt that. He hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
For that light heavyweight division. I'm going to go DC though based on his chin. I know he did get rocked, but that was by a fucking shin head kick from John Jones.
Or as Alex call it, a head kick.
Yeah, but I really just see DC. He'll dirty box a little bit. But he's not going to do, like, even when he fought Rumble, if this is like a junior version of Rumble, that's still dangerous to deal with someone like that with that kind of power. So he's just going to wrestle the fuck out of him. I think literally this is going to look just like the Rumble fight. It's just going to be him probably getting the back of Volkan. I think he's going to get the rear naked or something and submit him. I say submission like round 2 or 3. I just... No, maybe later. Probably round 4. It sounds ridiculous, but Volkan's a guy who likes to last. He's a tough guy, and I don't see him quitting. Because I remember I told you I thought Rumble quit. And I still believe he fucking quit that fight. I don't.
That's what DC
No, he quit.
said.
No, I saw him quit. He just literally was like this. He put his hands, didn't even try to defend. He was like, I'm done. And his coach was like, fuck this, and just ran off. Because he was frustrated, as any coach should be, if you see your fighter quit. So, I got DC. I really want to pick Volkan because he can boop his way to victory, but I've seen this fight before. Well, that's disrespectful. I've seen a similar fight before, when he fought Rumble twice.
It feels like that, right?
It just feels like the same fight to me, and that's why I'm going with DC.
Yeah, I'm going the same way.
Yeah,
it's number one, I have DC in one of my fantasy leagues, so full disclosure on that. But also, Vulcan is, spoiler alert, I feel a lot of this fight also applies to the next fight, in that it is a dude who is very well rounded and very solid, but not a big old hype train, fighting a dude who has a bunch of unknowns, but has one thing that everyone's freaking out about, which is mainly their power. Like, this and the main event both have basically, you betting on power, or are you betting on
skill and ability,
not only skill and ability, but
experience.
Just experience, like amount of time in the ring. Like, it's crazy how much time DC has in the cage between Strikeforce and fucking the UFC alone, versus Volkan, who's on his 3rd UFC fight, and before then was fighting fucking Vikings in Sweden or whatever.
Denmark, some Scandinavian
country, whatever sketchy country he had to drive to make it happen. Like, I gotta go DC. Also, I'm super biased towards wrestlers, if you guys don't know this yet. If you're a wrestler with a solid top game, Islam Makhachev, for example, Habib, for example, fucking Kevin Randleman, for example, I think you're generally... Ben Askren, for example, fucking Tyron Woodley, for example, if he wanted to do that. I'm 100% on board with any solid wrestler that has a good top game and
Chris
can
Weidman,
just outwork
there's a lot of people. Not as much anymore. Yeah.
Chris doesn't have that,
Chad Mendes, you can mention.
Chad, Ben and Kevin Randleman are the two best examples for what I mean by that, but... Yeah, DC is up
Lesnar,
there.
If you're huge,
fuck Brock Lesnar.
I know. He's a roided up vanilla gorilla.
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah,
that's the right.
But real shit though, Brock Lesnar's a fantastic wrestler.
No, yeah.
He's insane.
No, he's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
He's a terrible personality.
Yeah.
Fucking Paul Heyman made him money. But anyway, I don't even watch pro wrestling, y'all. Shouts out to the Laps Fan podcast. All my pro wrestling references come from the Laps Fan. I've watched maybe 10 pro wrestling events in my life.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I was cringing when DC felt he had to apologize to 2 wrestlers who I've never heard of because I don't watch pro wrestling.
Oh, to the fucking
some Buck show. What are they called?
Not Bomb Squad.
The Bang Bros. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What are the fucking...
A bunch of assholes in the WWE that no one should care about if you're 12 and
WWE? I thought they were New Japan.
I don't know. I have no fucking clue. Either way, they sound like a bunch of clowns, and DC would murder them.
Well, they apologized to DC too.
Yeah. So they're beef squash. But either way, he would.
But also talk nicely to the champ.
Yeah. So who's that?
Champ.
Yeah. Woo!
Anyway,
the main event of the evenings.
Yep.
The battle of the immigrant mentality, whatever you want to call it.
That's right.
If you're Joey Diaz.
Steep Chin
versus Francis Magabaloo, whatever you call him.
Yeah, Stiopchich is my favorite one. Versus Magabaloo. Also, I heard Dana call him Gabib about 3 times on the press conference.
I did see Habib was at the Celtics game against Philadelphia, and Dana was sitting next to him, and Dana was remember Habib was like, "Hey Dana, what time is it?" And he was like, "Habib time," and the next time he's like, Habib time. He actually said it right.
Yeah. Well, he called him Gabib a couple times at the press
Gabib.
conferences. He also said Gabib time at one point, which is great. I'm a big fan of Gabib. And Dana's a fucking, oh my god. Anyway.
I gotta go on Reddit later, see if there's any good flare bets tonight.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Friday flare bets.
It's a good Friday.
I mean, I do like mine.
I'm still waiting for Leslie Smith's next fight to get a good flare, because I love my Tanya Evinger bet. I picked Tanya. I need a good Leslie Smith flare for our official account, because our fucking show art, if y'all haven't realized, duh, it's the homegirl.
So, this fight is interesting.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned before.
I was gonna say
it's the battle of. Okay, like
as you heard on the last break, it's the battle of the white collar versus the
high motor.
Yeah, versus I think it's what
physical
is it?
specimen.
Yeah, blue collar versus explosive. I believe this is what Nate called it. Yeah, it's the first one in, last one out versus the
Eagle Christ. Scout.
Yeah. Fucking fighter's fighter.
Yeah. It's an interesting fight for. Don't get me wrong. Okay, like I could just be like, yeah, I think Francis is gonna win. Why do you say that, Chris? Well, he can knock him the fuck out if they get in the clinch. He punches the hardest in the whole division, which he probably does. But then again, you don't really know that though. Like there's that whole bullshit.
He's up there.
Okay, I'll just tell you this. The thing that made me kind of chuckle is the whole. I watched the embeddeds. I watched like the countdown.
Oh, the fucking punch count.
I would bet someone $100 right now. Anthony Joshua, can you come here? Boom!
No.
Fucking just obliterates that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Tyson Fury, all those dudes.
Even probably a fucking light heavyweight in boxing. And
Yeah, well, also a lot of the UFC roster hasn't hit that
dude,
thing.
Stipe would probably be up there too. That dude fucking knocks people the fuck out too.
Although I did see some cool stats, I believe it was on Reddit, where someone did all the math on what that amount of force compares to. It's like Francis Ngannou's uppercut is like 3 baseball bats from a person weighing more than 200 pounds.
Oh my god!
It's like shit
so
like
Mike
that.
Trout just fucking obliterating you in the face.
It was like
3 baseball bats.
Yeah, I believe one of them was like it's like 5 Connor jabs. Like it was a bunch of weird stats. It's pretty good.
Oh man! So yeah, you know what? I could easily just say right now.
Well, we should say Stipe, of course, is coming off the win over Junior Santos back in May of last year.
Very impressive.
Via TKO.
He avoided those leg kicks pretty well.
Yep, and before that, he had the win over Alistair Overeem and Fabricio Verdum, as well as Andre Arlovski.
And he finished Mark Hunt, which is hard to do.
Yep. And that Mark Hunt fight, I feel like, is a huge factor.
Couldn't they have stopped that early? Didn't he absorb like 300 punches?
Dude, it was the most one-sided shit. It was like 330 or something.
It was like over like a 10-7.
Oh, I have one of those. Yeah, John McCarthy calls one of those rounds a 10-7. John McCarthy's like, you want a good example of a 10-7? I think it was round 4
I'll say
or 5.
this. That's a good reason you brought that fight up. Mark Hunt is a guy who has insanely good knockout power too.
Also, very good wrestling defense.
Guess who doesn't have good wrestling defense as of now? Francis Ngannou.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's okay. This is the thing. He hasn't gotten taken down. This is the thing with this fight. I want to pick Francis. I really do because we've seen him knock people up. But, I'm not going to this fight. I'm going with Stipe because it's a matter of experience, and I know Stipe can wrestle. He's got a fucking long reach, 80 inch, right? And Francis is probably up there to like 80, 81. He's got fucking long arms. And
I'm sure.
If it happens, come tomorrow, if Francis goes bam, and then Stipe is out or TKO, I don't think he'll KO him like Overeem did. I think it'll probably be a TKO or, he'd hammer fist, some shit.
Right.
I just think Stipe is just going to keep at range and just fuck with him and point fight. And I think it's going to come when Francis gets close. That's it. You get taken down. And he's just going to smother him. And I think he might gas him, man. It might even just go to... Actually, no, it's not going to decision. I think Stipe would probably TKO him because he's got so much power, too. And there's just a lot of unknowns at Francis. I just can't confidently pick him, man. That's only like... Can I confidently pick him just based on his power? I guess. But that's just not that fun. Because that's like me going, Volkan, we see him fuck people up. I'm just going to pick him against TC. But no, but I've seen that fight before. That was against Rumble.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why I'm going with Stipe. If Francis knocks him out, fuck yeah. Is anyone going to beat Francis? I could see Kane if he ever gets healthy, just because he wouldn't be. He's not going to stand and bang and just wrestle the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Stipe has that wrestling. He has a very good wrestling ability. We just haven't seen him use it in forever. Will he use it this fight? I would put money on it. There's no way he's not going to try to take him down.
I would
He took
assume
down
so,
over him, yeah. And he got him into his full mount, and then he fucking put his lights out. I think that's how it's going to finish, really. I think Stipe's going to get full mount, Francis will cover, and it's just going to be night, and I don't want to say the hype train will be gone. It won't, because Francis is so young in his career. He's like had, what, 4 UFC fights?
Yeah, no, 3.
He'll probably be a champion within the next a year or two.
I guess Ngannou has had he's had a
lot of good fights. Wow, okay.
6 fights. But again, against a lot of the lower half of that heavyweight division, like Curtis Blades and Andre and Alistair are probably the 3 big names. Like Mihalovic is like kind of a name. Anthony Hamilton, that was when he was on that terrible skid where he's getting knocked out and subbed by like fucking everybody in the first minute. That was bad. Like he got killed by that one dude, Daniel Spitz.
That was really bad.
Fucking murdered. That was like,
and I was thinking about this too. I was like,
yeah.
if Anthony Hamilton of all people could
Yeah.
just stand and he took fucking Ngannou down. He took him down clean. It was like a single leg. I saw the highlight.
Yep.
He took him down. He almost took his back. If it wasn't for Ngannou's athletic ability and just explosiveness,
Crazy
literally
scramble.
to be able to fucking get up,
and
he's
like
so fucking strong.
The size difference between Anthony Hamilton and fucking Ngannou is real. And
It looked like a light heavyweight fighting a heavyweight. It's literally what it looked. It looked like Brock Lesnar versus Randy Couture.
Which, to be fair, DC isn't big, but DC's top control is way different than Anthony Hamilton.
By the way, realistically, how do you think DC would fare against Ngannou? Don't get me wrong, he'd probably get knocked the fuck out too. I mean, anyway, because it's a light heavy, it's a way different in power. But he did fight a heavyweight.
I heard DC is like
he's so
waiting to
strong.
see if Ngannou wins, and if he does, he's gonna call for that.
Because I feel like DC thinks he knows like a gameplay.
Knowing
DC
how smart.
would
Kill Ngannou
I think
on
he
the
would
ground.
wrestle fuck him, yeah.
But the problem is like, because you think about it, DC fights Anthony Johnson, and Ngannou's just a blown up, less developed Anthony Johnson, kind of. Like, way crazier power, don't get me wrong, but not that much crazier. And DC is, like, trained for that style of dude now for, what, 4 camps in a row?
DC kind of looked
5
like,
camps in a
He kind
row?
of looked like death today on the scales, man.
He looked bad. He looked bad, for sure. But he looked fine at the weigh-ins later tonight.
Yeah,
So.
we'll see. But my pick Stipe, man. I want to pick Francis. I really do. Like I could say fuck it, I pick him, but I just don't have any validation outside of his power. I just don't like picking like that. That's just not fair. And I'm just gonna go. I'm going Stipe. It's sorry.
I'm totally in agreement.
He has so many more tools.
I'm totally in agreement. Yeah, I think Stipe just. I'm not that dude. I'm never the dude who jumps on the you have the heaviest hands, you're the future bandwagon. Like, for the same reason I picked against Cody Garbrandt when he won the belt, this is going to sound like a bad reason to pick. For the same reason why I picked against I picked Conor McGregor when he was going for the 45 belt. The same reason why I picked against Conor McGregor when he was going for the 55-pound belt.
Yeah.
The same reason I picked against fucking most dudes with heavy hands. Like, I picked against fucking Anthony Johnson every time he fought DC. Like, I don't really care if you hit hard up at that big of a weight class. Doesn't do much for me, man. Like, what does a lot more for me is being well-rounded, and that's something we have not seen from Ngannou. Could be that he has fucking excellent takedown defense, and it could be that his ground game is phenomenal. Haven't seen that shit.
And that's why it wasn't bad that we picked against Garbrandt, because guess what in that fight? What did we learn? He has great takedown defense.
Yeah,
he has great
phenomenal.
movement. Yeah, he's a top 2. Yeah, he's top 2 right now in the world. He's right behind PJ, really.
Or 2 or 3.
3,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Somewhere in there.
Fuck it, yeah.
Yeah, man. So I am also going to go Stipe, but man, I think it's gonna be a fun fight regardless. And
you know what'd be insane if it's just a war and it just goes to a decision. Imagine that. Like, say Stipe doesn't even get knocked out and he's gonna that'd be chaos.
if this goes 5 rounds, regardless,
they're
this will
gonna
be
rematch.
crazy.
They'll probably get a fucking rematch no matter who wins. Nah, maybe not.
Maybe. Who the fuck
I don't know
else
who's
is there
next.
heavyweight?
Overeem next. Kane is still hurt. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and unless DC wants to step up if Ngannou wins. I've been hearing rumors about DC wanting to step up if Ngannou wins. Like, I've been hearing that a couple places. Even though DC's, like, shutting down all the heavyweight talk, like, low-key, if Ngannou wins, I think he'd be like, yo, I heard there's a certain heavyweight who was waiting to get
Well, I was
wrestle
watching
fucked.
Embedded too. They ran into the airport and they're just like talking. And I remember DC went like this, like to him, and he's like, "Oh, I can get you." He like pointed at him. He was like fucking with him. He's like, "I don't know, Daniel." you know.
Yeah, and DC joked about that on something too. I forget where I heard on what podcast. Maybe Ariel.
Because dude, I did see the size difference. I was like, "Yikes!"
Yeah, it's big. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But DC's dumped bigger men than, well, I don't know about bigger, but close to bigger men than him. I mean, he fought Roy Nelson back in Strikeforce, right?
Yeah.
I think he fought Roy.
He fought Bigfoot, who's huge.
Yeah, he
dumped Bigfoot. He lifted him up and
he
put him on the
fucking
ground.
dumped Bigfoot on. Yeah, DC's a monster. Anyway, this has been a fun episode. I am fucking hyped for these two cards this weekend. Easy fight. If you were to pick one fight you care about this weekend most, what would it be? Figure it's got to be one of the top 4 main events, right? Between Bellator and UFC. I would figure yours is probably either yours is. If I was to guess what yours would be, I would say probably Ngannou Stipe.
It's either that or honestly, or Lima MacDonald.
Really?
I'd probably said Lima MacDonald.
Dude,
because it's just more even.
Yeah,
It's just more of an even.
I actually picked Lima MacDonald when there was a Reddit straw poll.
I think
about
now that's probably just gonna go to a decision. It's probably be like a
it's
war.
gonna be a good fight, man. Like, and I feel like that's one of the best fights in that division.
And you said that's
ever.
gonna be for. What time is that going to be at?
So I heard that the
wait. Where's the car? Go to the. Do you have the Bellator on there still?
Yeah,
if
but it's not.
I'll
It's
look
not
it
going
up,
to be.
and I'll figure it out.
It's not going to. The times are not going to be helpful because of the way it works. But from what I've heard, the Bellator's plan is for the main and co-main to finish before the main and co-main of the UFC. So in which case, like, dude, that I am 100% going to be watching Bellator over the fucking Shane Burgos or whatever fight, and I'll DVR that shit and catch it later. But should be fun, man. I'm excited for this card overall. Chris, is there anything you wanted to shout out this week? Any sponsors we didn't get out there that are super real and not made up? Any projects you're working on?
No, I definitely have some projects for some classes of mine because I have a photojournalism class. Which should be dope. My aunt's actually letting me borrow one of her really nice cameras.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be going to a metal show next week.
Nice.
Gonna go to probably some goals games. And then I'm probably gonna go to some maybe I'll try to go to some MMA events. I don't know.
Dude, if you want to, yeah, we can
bring
probably
my camera, and just practice and just have some fun with it. I'm down to do that.
We can probably hit up one of the amateur organizations and see if we can get press stuff for it. That way we can do a little bit of media
like
for
Epic Fighting or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, or even I was thinking like
CFFC.
Yeah, I was thinking Epic more specifically, or like any of the ones in Orange County that are like all the small ones.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
But like, yeah, that'd be cool, man. So maybe we'll do some of that going forward, and who knows, maybe we'll get some of your dope shit up on our website for whatever photography stuff you do. So that's like easiest shit to do. So
yeah.
Look for that going forward. And yeah, man, everybody go check out the MMA community. That fucking forum is awesome. Everyone's cool as hell. If you want to go hang out, I am normally in those threads for the live events under our Sound of Violence account. So if you want to come hang out on fight night and drink some beers and kick it, sign up for the MMA community and jump on that live thread, and I'll take a terrible shot or something for you. And yeah, we'll wrap this one here, man. But you guys can find us as always, TSOV Pod on Twitter, thesoundofviolence.com, SOVpod.com. You can email the show, Chris at thesoundofviolence.com, or SOVpod@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know if there's any new MMA podcasts we don't know about. If we missed, like, if y'all have a show that like you think we should have talked about and we didn't during the week, fucking definitely hit us up via email or Twitter and be like, "Yo, idiots! Obviously, you should be talking about how Sam Tripoli has to put a hot dog up his ass."
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we'll make that happen. So check that out. And I'm happy to have y'all around. Next week we got we're actually going to be recording on Wednesday next week.
That's right.
Because I'm going to be in Vegas on Friday for girlfriend Karen's birthday. So if you're in Vegas this next weekend, let me know. I'll buy you a beer or something. Or we'll go to buy you a couple games of Pinball Hall of Fame.
Remember to go to the Kiss Mini Golf.
Oh yeah, we might have to Kiss Mini Golf. Yeah,
6 years ago, whatever it was. But that was pretty dope.
Pretty solid. So my plan is to get hella hammered and.
Hey, I just wish you're going during the perfect time. It's not gonna be hot.
Well, I thought you were gonna say because AVN is the same week because that's also happening.
That's fucking hilarious timing. Oh,
yeah, it happened for my girlfriend's birthday, but it happens to be also AVN is there that weekend, so that should be interesting.
Might have to go crash the red carpet.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some fun show the week after. We'll see.
Some plastic faces.
Yeah,
plastic. A lot of things.
Yeah, plastic on plastic on plastic, y'all. But yeah, I am excited. I am hoping DC and Islam Makhachev get a W because I could use the fucking fantasy points. And yeah, man, we'll go ahead and wrap it here. But like we said, hit us up and let us know what we should be listening to. Join the MMA community. And anything else you wanted to plug?
That's it for me.
Cool, man. Well, until next time then, y'all. Go do something decadent. Yeah. Out.